Welcome back everybody to the Daily Cooking Show, to the Daily Cooking Stream. I hope you're all having a beautiful Friday, because if you're watching this live, it is currently Friday. It is the end of the week. Congratulations, you've all made it. If you're watching this live, it is 5 p.m. EDT, and I see that we have all of my lovely sous chefs in the chat. And I think we also have quite a few newcomers coming in today as well. So hello to Tarina Chess, welcome on in. Hello to Trash Can Cat Mom. Hello to Cool Boy Man Boy Boy. Hello to Dosky as well. Hello to Shy Chica. Hello to Eskia. Welcome on in. It is lovely to have each and every single one of you today. Welcome on in and welcome to my kitchen. Welcome to the cooking show. Also, I hate food flies. Well, guess what? Me too. Welcome on into the cooking show. That's an excellent tag. That's an excellent Twitch handle. I'm really excited about today's stream. We're going to be doing something almost completely new, basically freestyling it. And then we're also going to be doing something a little bit more simple. We're going to be doing what I consider to be one of the bastions of Italian home cooking. A dish that is so simple and yet really, really nutritious because it happens to feature one of my favorite ingredients, which is beans, my friends. So, everybody, today's stream is all about using up the existing leftovers that I've had in my fridge. I had leftover phyllo dough, I had leftover parsley, and I also had leftover white beans. So those white beans are going to transform into pasta e fagioli, which is an Italian pasta and bean soup. It is super simple, it's super comforting, it's really simple, especially in terms of its flavors, and it's also a bit of a blank slate. So everybody does it a little bit differently. You can add in what other kinds of vegetables that you would like, but in my case today, everybody, I'm going to be keeping it really simple. Alongside the pasta e fagioli, we're going to be doing something that was inspired from the spanakopita, which is we're going to be doing another phyllo pie. We're going to be doing a phyllo pie to use up my block of mozzarella cheese. It's going to be baked in there with mushrooms and eggplant. And so let's go ahead and begin talking about our ingredients. And everybody, today begins with all of my leftover white beans that we did from the previous show, that we did from the previous stream, that we added into the sausage stew. These will become the base of the pasta e fagioli. These are already really, really soft. So these are going to be added towards the end of the cooking process. And I just wanted to show you guys a nice way to be able to use up a bunch of beans. I love beans. I love working with dried beans. And a big thing that I want to keep teaching all of you guys at home is to how to make the most out of the things that you have. Dried beans are super, super delicious. They're super cheap. They have a lot of excellent protein. And this is going to become the bulk of our meal today. As for the pasta component, everybody, we're going to be using a ditalline today. You can use theoretically any kind of pasta that you would like for pasta e fagioli. Traditionally, you would use a short pasta. In my case, I'm using ditalline because it's just fun. It's fun to eat, it's cute, it's small little pasta, and it's going to be nice and pleasant to be able to bite into. So, we have some ditalline. I'm going to go ahead and just set that down behind us. We're not going to need to get back to this for a good while. Next, everybody, let's go ahead and start looking at my big, beautiful plate of produce. So, over here, we have a few things. First and foremost, we have some eggplant. Also, Jackie Peanuts, thank you so much for the sub. It's lovely to see you, friend. Hope you're having an amazing day today. Happy Friday to you as well. Everybody, we have some lovely eggplants. I'm going to show you the best way to process these for something like this phyllo pie. We're going to char it until it gets really nice and smoky, and then we're going to be able to scoop the flesh out of that burnt skin, and it's going to have this delicious roasted flavor on the inside. Next, for the actual soup itself, everybody, we're going to be using a very classic trinity, which is the celery, carrot, and onion. Celery, carrot, and onion, you see it all over Western European cooking. In French cuisine, this would be called a mirepoix. In Italian cuisine, this would be called something like a sofrito, right? So we have carrots, we have onions, and we have celery. If you ever want to make something vaguely taste French or Italian, carrots, onions, and celery in the bases of your sauces, in the bases of your soups, etc. So carrots, onions, and celery, those are just going to be nice little chunks throughout the soup. It's also going to give our broth a little bit of flavor because we're going to be doing this a completely vegetarian broth minus the bacon. So it's going to be a little bit lacking in terms of how much flavor it can actually hold. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down behind us. Next, everybody, I dropped my parsley, but that's okay. We have some fresh parsley that I wanted to use up. It's going to find its way both into the pie and in the soup. Then, everybody, we have a lot of fresh, lovely mushrooms. All of these mushrooms, we're going to break them down. I'm going to show you the best way to cook them, the best way to process them for something like this pie that we're doing today. So this is about, I think, in total, a pound of mushrooms, and it's all going to go ahead and cook down and become the basis of our filling. And this is our parsley. So I'm going to go ahead and set that down behind us. And next, everybody, just because I also have some, I have some canned tomatoes. Sometimes you'll see pasta e fagioli with tomatoes. Sometimes you'll see it without it. I'm not going to use all of these tomatoes because it'll make a very aggressively tomatoey soup. But we're going to use maybe like roughly half this can or so. Whether or not you want to include it in your pasta e fagioli, again, everybody, it is entirely and totally up to you. The way that you do it, it is a vegetable soup. Okay, it is a soup of pasta and beans. There is no super hyper traditional way to do it. It is entirely up to you. Go have fun, go crazy with it, at whatever else that you actually want it to do for you. In my case, I just wanted to go ahead and start tackling away at these leftover cans of tomatoes that we had left over. So I wanted to use that up for today. And everybody, last but not least, we have some phyllo pastry. We have some phyllo dough. This is a super, super thin dough that is often used in a lot of Mediterranean cuisine, a lot of Middle Eastern cuisine, and this is going to become the base of our phyllo pie. And I'm going to show you exactly how to process it. So everybody, a little bit of housekeeping. For those of you that are new, welcome on in. At any point in time, remember, you can ask me any and all cooking questions that you may have. Above all else, everybody, this is a home cooking show. All the food that I make here is stuff to fit into my own home routine and my own home life. I want to show you how fun and accessible and easy and delicious home cooking can be. So if at any point in time you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask me. And now I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, from everybody watching, please and thank you. Next, everybody, if at any point you would like to know the ingredients that we're using, you can type in ! menu. And if you'd like to support the cooking show, the best way to do so is the Patreon. You can just scroll down in the Twitch, click on one of the panels. You can also type in ! Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Daramgar. You don't get anything in return but the satisfaction of supporting the show. There is a private Discord, but ultimately I want to keep all of my content free and accessible. And so everybody that supports the Patreon is able to help make this show happen. So everybody, we have a lot of prep. We have a lot of work to do. We need to make the filling for the pie. We have to cook the pie. We have to make the sofrito. We have to make this aromatic base for the soup itself. We're also going to be using some bacon inside of the soup today. You could use pancetta, you can use bacon, you can use guanciale, just to help give us a bit of an extra meaty bite into everything, okay? And just to give us some of that delicious bacon fat, just because the soup by itself could be a little bit bland. So we need to go ahead and begin, everybody, by tackling my beautiful eggplants, okay? So let's go ahead and get these bad boys started. So my favorite way to consistently cook eggplants at home is a method that I've taken from Baba Ganoush, which is to char whole eggplants, my friends. Eggplants can be especially tricky to work with. They're both really, really spongy, meaning they'll want to soak up any of the liquid around them, and they also easily dry out and turn leathery. If you were to slice this and bake this off just by itself, the issue is the eggplant, it turns leathery and it never gets any softer. Okay? You do not want to dry out these eggplants. And so, what we do is this, my friends. We burn the hell out of the skin. We burn the skin so much that the skin basically turns into these papery little flakes that easily peels away. We don't eat the skin itself, but it does contribute to a beautiful smoky flavor inside of the actual eggplant itself. Okay, so the only prep that we need to do for this, everybody, we have two beautiful eggplants. When you're shopping for eggplants, you do want to keep in mind, green tops are usually a good indication of their freshness. I live in New York. We don't usually have amazing quality eggplants with beautiful green tops. You're looking for no brown spots, right? So no really, really soft brown spots. And you don't want your eggplant to feel too dense and too heavy. Okay, so those are all the different criteria that you want it to meet, my friends. You want it to not feel too dense, because that's usually an indication of a lot of seeds, or so they say. You don't want any brown spots because it's going to get really, really soft that way as well. So everybody, all that we need to go ahead and do, we're going to grab a little fork, and we just got to stab it all the way around, because if we do leave this completely intact inside, a lot of steam and pressure is going to build up inside of it and it will burst. And this also does help some of the excess liquid, especially a lot of the bitter liquid inside of the eggplant, to sort of seep away, my friends. So all I'm doing, I'm just piercing the flesh, piercing it all the way around, just like so, nice and easy. Chef, did you know that Instagram banned the eggplant emoji at one point? I feel like that would be like a good regulatory ban every now and then, just to stop people from acting up on Instagram too much. That makes sense. So everybody, again, this is a really magical method. It's super simple, it's super easy. And now we need to broil the hell out of it, okay? We're going to be using a broiler. If you have a grill, that would also be a really nice method to do so, but you know, I have an apartment, I am inside, and I have an oven, so we're gonna be using a broiler. The goal is to char this eggplant into oblivion, my friends. You wanna give them some nice good space from each other, right? So that they're not steaming or getting too close to each other. And the amount of time it takes is entirely dependent on both the size of your eggplant and the strength of your broiler. But in general, what we're going to do is we're going to cook it for about 25 minutes on each side, okay? And then rotate it every so often. Then we close it up and let it steam. Once you let it steam, you'll be able to go ahead and split it open, and the flesh is gonna beautifully peel off the skin. Yes, Askia, correct. This is used in baba ganoush, and this is the exact method that I've taken, right? I saw how people did it for baba ganoush. I don't want chunks of eggplant inside of my pie. I just want that delicious flavor of eggplant all the way throughout. So absolutely correct, Askia. This is what is used in baba ganoush. So, once again, 2 eggplants pricked all over. You don't need to worry about salt at this stage. You don't need to worry about anything. We need to char the skin, my friends. So, under the broiler she goes. It's going to go in for about 20 minutes before we go ahead and inspect it, and you're going to see how much this eggplant transforms. You can't overcook the eggplant. I'm going to say this again. You can't overcook the eggplant. You can absolutely undercook it. If you undercook it, it's not going to peel away from the skin as easily. Okay? You want to basically cook this eggplant until the inside of it is complete and total mush, my friends. Okay? So, just getting it under the broiler, getting it inside of the heating element, and the broiler is a super, super hot heating element on top of your oven. Okay? Get it inside, get it going, and get it doing its thing. I realized that I've also neglected to fully turn on my AC. So, I'm gonna need to go ahead and do that really quickly because my kitchen's gonna get a little bit sweaty. My kitchen's gonna get a little bit hot, my friends. Okay? So, that's basically it for the eggplant. If anybody has any questions, once again, at any point in time, feel free to ask me, and we will be moving on with everything else. I'm setting a timer just to roughly remind myself to check in on it after like 15 or 20 minutes or something like that. Just again, everybody, nice extended cooking. You want to burn this eggplant. You want to char it, and you want to get it smoky. Okay, what else do we need to actually prepare for the filling of this phyllo pie? The next thing, everybody, is going to be all of these lovely mushrooms. I'm going to be teaching you how to do the wet mushroom cooking method, and then we're also going to be taking the stems off. The stems, especially of these white button mushrooms, they tend to be a little bit woody, and they tend to have a bit of a toothsomeness to them, but we're going to save them and freeze them and use them in a future mushroom stock. Okay, so everybody, super simple, super easy. I have all of these mushrooms and they're heavily washed. Now, really, really important, I want to make sure everybody's listening. I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef. There are so many misconceptions when it comes to prepping mushrooms, when it comes to buying mushrooms. Okay, so first off, you could use theoretically any blend of mushrooms that you would like. You can do wild mushrooms, you can do shiitakes, you can do oysters, you can do chanterelles, you can do anything that you would like. Something important to keep in mind though, is that cremini mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, and white button mushrooms, I believe they're all really, really similar. They all taste very similar. They just happen to look a little bit different, right? The white button mushrooms are whiter and the brown mushrooms are brown. But those 3 mushrooms, they tend to be really, really samey in terms of their taste and texture. Whereas other mushrooms, like Turina just mentioned, have you used porcinis? Chat, you have to use all porcinis. Nobody has money to use all porcinis, right? But other kinds of mushrooms will contribute different things into something like this. I'm going with white button mushrooms because they're cheap, because they're accessible, because these are the kinds of mushrooms that everybody has access to. Mushrooms are not the cheapest in the world sometimes, and they really feel like they should be. And I feel like the fact that it's like $2, $3 in the supermarket to buy half a pound of mushrooms is ridiculous, especially if you consider how much water comes out of them. Okay, next. In the French school of thought, they say that you must never wash the mushroom. They say that you must never wash the mushroom because it absorbs a lot of liquid. Everybody, we're going to be doing the wet mushroom cooking method today, which is when we start it off in some water. And we'll talk about why. Because how many times has this happened to you? How many times have you tried to saute a mushroom and it just ended up soaking up all the fat and it stopped sizzling and it started boiling instead? Mushrooms are super saturated with water in a very similar way to eggplants. They're both spongy and super saturated. So I will walk you through my favorite contemporary cooking method to be able to get these to a point where we can saute them. Chayo, you're afraid to cook with mushrooms? You're afraid there could be a poison one? Well, let me ease your concerns right now. If you're buying commercial mushrooms, none of these varieties can be poisonous. These are all varieties that are deemed very safe to eat. The only times that there would be a risk of a poisonous mushroom is if you or somebody you know did not go like foraging with a lot of knowledge. If you're going foraging for mushrooms, you need to be very, very knowledgeable. Otherwise, None of these are going to be poisonous. I absolutely promise you, Chow Yard, not a single grocery store mushroom can be poisonous. They just do not grow poisonous mushrooms. The mushrooms that you buy in a grocery store are not foraged. They're not foraged. They're grown in like these little, I don't know if I would exactly call them a farm, but you get the idea. So, mushrooms, everybody, really simple. We're just going to be taking them, holding them gently in our hands, rotating the stem, and popping off the stem. And the reason why we're doing this, again, the stems don't have the best texture, but we're going to save all of the stems because they still have a lot of flavor to contribute. Okay? And these stems, we can use them in a future mushroom stock. It's a very nice way to use up these kinds of vegetable scraps. You might double in size if you eat the wrong one. That's right. That's what happens to big mushroom. Okay, so everybody, I heavily soaked these in water. I rinsed off all of the dirt from them. The mushrooms will feel super wet, but that is okay because we're gonna start by cooking these mushrooms in some water as well. Okay, so just going all the way around. All I'm doing, guys, is I'm just plucking the mushroom stems. I'm plucking them, I'm getting them out of here, out of sight and out of mind. And we just washed off all visible dirt that could have been on these bad boys. Nice and easy. There is no exact method to this. The only thing is I just like to gently rotate the stem because that's how you get to easily pluck off, my friends. You don't just want to rip it out. You don't just want to pull it out like this, okay? Because sometimes it can leave the center part of it. So all I'm doing is I'm taking the stem, giving it a little rotation, and out she goes. Nice and easy. I love mushrooms, and quite frankly, I think everybody should be cooking with mushrooms, okay? They're super delicious. I'm always looking for different ways to add protein into my diet. Quite frankly, right? And I'm tired of always deriving my protein sources from exclusively meat, right? I feel like that's the thing that people sort of fall into. Mushrooms can be a little bit pricey, but they're not always as pricey as meat. So, hey, I'm Daph. Welcome on in. Thank you so much for the Prime sub. I really appreciate it. Nika, you said, sometimes I yank it and the whole thing disintegrates. So, again, you don't yank it. We're very, very gentle. You guys have no idea how gentle I'm being. And Mortis, I'm not vegetarian, and also, hi, I'm Daph, welcome on in. I'm not vegetarian, but rather I'm trying to decrease the amount of meat that I'm eating for both ecological reasons and also because meat is really expensive. Okay, so everybody just take it, gently rotate it, and off it goes. You don't have to yank it, you don't have to jerk it, right? Just give it a little rotation, a little twist, okay? Little twist, out she goes. Now, it might not seem all that technical, but I've just been doing this for a long time. Go slowly, and then you'll understand exactly what I mean. Okay? Beautiful. That's it. Nice and simple. Nice and easy. I have all of this extra like liquid that the mushrooms washed in. It's not that flavorful, guys. It's not like, oh, you wasted all the mushroom broth to do Daramgar. It's going to be fine. I promise you that. Okie dokie. So, these are all of my mushroom stems. Again, everybody, we have no use for these today. I'm just going to go ahead and grab a small little freezer bag and shove this into my freezer, date it, and label it. I love doing this, everybody, for any kinds of excess amounts of vegetable scraps. Are these called boneless mushrooms? That's right. You got it, Sunny Peach Crush. I'd like to do this with any kind of like, if I'm processing a lot of a certain vegetable and I have a lot of those scraps, then I'll always go ahead and save them. Mushroom stems especially, everybody. You can make a lovely, lovely, beautiful mushroom stock in the future. So, into a little bag she goes, and we don't need it today. I don't want mushroom flavor in my pasta fagioli. I almost said it the American Italian way, right? Fagioli. Not the other pronunciation. The funnier pronunciation would have been a lot better to do, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna squeeze the air out of all of it. And everybody, when I'm at home, I always, always, always date and label my stuff. Okay? Because sometimes you're going to look at this in the freezer, you're going to see a block of mysterious frozen vegetable scraps and have no idea what it is, and you have no idea when you froze it. So, mushroom stems 9-6. So, again, everybody, I really, really highly recommend that you get into the habit of just saving your scraps like this, saving them and freezing them. Okay, gonna go ahead and throw that into the freezer for safekeeping. And we might use that on Sunday, we might use that for a different stream date. These will keep in your freezer for a very, very long time, my friends. So you don't have to worry about it too much. Just put it in there. Excellent. Okay, as far as the rest of my lovely little mushrooms, guys, all that I'm going to go ahead and do is just give them a little bit of a cut. You do need to keep in mind that mushrooms really, really, really heavily cook down. Okay, they really reduce in their volume, they reduce in their size, so we don't need to cut them too much or anything, just a little bit. Amelia Iris, welcome on in. I am indeed doing well. I hope same to you. And once again, everybody, if you have any and all cooking questions, please remember, you can always ask me. That's what we're here to do. So, I have a cute little paring knife. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to think about how big do I want the mushrooms inside of my phyllo pie. And the answer is today, I'm going to want nice little slices of mushroom. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't need to be consistent or anything. We just want to go ahead and begin to get these bad boys processed, my friends. I'm a professional graphics designer. Okay. If you're going to self-advertise in here, that's not very, very strictly, you know, well, we'll see. I'm going to give you some benefit of doubt. I wonder where you're going with this. So everybody, just getting in there. I'm just slicing up my mushrooms nice and fine. Again, you don't have to go too crazy with the job. They'll all end up shrinking down as they cook. Shark Dog, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Chef, what are your thoughts on adopting in the future? Sunny Peach Crush, that is an amazing question, actually. And I'll tell you exactly what my thoughts on adopting are, which is, I think it is kind of the most responsible way to have a kid in this day and age. I think a lot of people, they get very tunnel visioned into the idea and they very heavily romanticize the idea of a kid being their own flesh and blood, right? And they think that they'll love them more as a result or something. There's a lot of kids that need, you know, all right, mods, we're going to get a nice little band there. Please and thank you. I really, really strictly prohibit this kind of self-advertising in chat. Because I don't know who you are, I'm afraid. And I don't know whether or not your situation is actually genuine or not, but there's just no way to know. Okay? Yeah, there's plenty enough to go around. That's right. And so my thoughts on adopting in the future are, I would actually probably like to adopt if I ever find myself in a position where like that becomes my priority. But at the moment, everybody, I want to have a very successful cooking show. I have a lot of really, really big ambitions. And so maybe by the time I'm 40 or 50, I would actually heavily consider adopting. Absolutely. So those are my thoughts on adopting. And I want to be able to adopt, and I want to be able to also inspire and encourage other people to go ahead and do the same, because there's a lot of kids out there that need it. It's a really, really awful, traumatic system, right? And if you think you had it tough even with your parents, well, kids that are going through the adoption system have it even worse as a result. I've always had an aversion to mushrooms, but I'm always trying to find dishes where I can appreciate them more. So Hot Sauce Jr., I have a question for you. Which is, what is it that you find yourself specifically averse to about mushrooms, and what kind of contexts? So, these mushrooms are going to get beautifully sauteed. We're going to develop a lot of excellent meaty flavor. I find that a lot of people are very averse to the smell and the sponginess of a raw mushroom, especially in salads. Everybody, I have no idea how raw mushrooms in salads ever became a thing. It feels like a psyop. They taste like dirt. They're spongy and wet, and they just don't taste or feel good to be able to bite into. So I'm going to show you how to make beautiful sauteed mushrooms. Very simple, Hot Sauce Jr. Very easy. It's going to smell delicious. It's going to taste delicious. Oh yeah, hey, I'm Daff. Absolutely. People do raw mushrooms in salads. It is a thing that they do. What just fell behind me? I heard something fall and I don't know what it was. Yep, raw mushrooms in salads. You go to a salad bar and you'll see it sometimes. And it feels kind of insane to me conceptually to do. Okay, everybody, so we have a huge amount of mushrooms here, but you need to remember, mushrooms and eggplant are honestly really, really similar. They're both super wet and they're spongy at the same time. I'm going to be teaching all of you my favorite way to cook mushrooms at home for sauteed mushrooms. We never start them off, in fact. We're going to be doing the wet mushroom cooking method, my friends. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. So right now, I'm just getting my bench scraper and I'm getting all of my mushrooms into my nice little bowl, just like so. Just getting them all inside, getting them all in there. Are blended mushrooms used for anything? So typically you would blend cooked mushrooms vexillus, and the answer is yes for two things. Cream of mushroom soup. Mushrooms do blend up beautifully inside of soups, as well as in what's called a duxelle. A duxelle is this, not exactly a condiment, it is like a paste of ground up cooked mushrooms and cooked liver. And traditionally, this would be used in something like a beef Wellington, right? This would be used as one of the fillings for a beef Wellington. A lot of people, they omit the liver part, but it is a mixture between livers and mushrooms and it's very delicious. Is there a danger with eating raw mushrooms, even if they're not well washed? Sunny Peach Crush, yes there is. The answer is a couple of digestion things. They don't digest all that well when they're raw. They're not great for your stomach. I would not be able to describe to you the exact nutrition behind it, but I do know that that is actually a pretty common sentiment that, hey, it's not great to eat these when they're raw. Okay, so everybody, for my wet mushroom cooking method, it's super simple, it's super easy. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mushrooms, I'm going to throw them onto a pan. You're going to see how full the pan actually looks, and that is totally okay, my friends. It is okay for the pan to be this full, and it's okay for the pan to be just this saturated. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take these bad boys, we're going to put them onto the stove, and we're just going to add in a little bit of water to them. We don't have to worry about any fat at this stage, even though these are going to become beautiful sauteed mushrooms, my friends. So, what is the theory? What is happening here? What's going on? Remember, mushrooms are both spongy and super saturated with water at the same time. If you add them into fat, everybody, I have a question. I want to hear a nice show of hands. How many of you have tried to saute a mushroom? You put it into some oil, some nice hot oil. People say they got to get super hot, and then the oil disappears. The pan looks dry. It looks dry for a little bit. The mushrooms are sticking to the bottom, and then a bunch of liquid pees out of the mushrooms, and it's boiling and no longer sauteing. How many times has that happened to all of you? I'm curious. Please and thank you. And they just say, oh, your heat wasn't high enough. You didn't have enough fat, and you feel compelled to add more and more and more. Okay, everybody, you need to remember, they have so much water inside of them. We need to first collapse the mushrooms themselves. The mushrooms will get collapsed with a little bit of heat. The water in the beginning stops them from sticking to the bottom of the pan. You collapse them with a little bit of heat. They release a bunch of liquid. Some of that liquid evaporates, and then the mushrooms take in only as much liquid as they need. They will literally soak it all the way back up. So, all of these mushrooms, guys, they're going to heavily and significantly shrink down. Right? They're super spongy, very similar to eggplant in a way, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to find something that I can cover this with. In my case, I'm just going to use this same bowl. It'll be a little bit tricky, it'll be a bit of a hassle, but the reason why I'm covering it is because I want it to steam inside, my friends. The steam is going to travel up and around the mushroom, and it's going to evenly distribute the heat and allow it to collapse. Because if it was just exposed to the top of it won't be steaming, the top of it won't be collapsing, and it'll take up a lot more time. So, few tablespoons of water plus sliced mushrooms, medium, high heat, it does not matter. Everybody, the goal is to collapse the mushrooms. We've officially hit the collapsation stage, my friends. Well, we're entering the collapsation stage. And you're going to see how beautiful and golden and delicious my sauteed mushrooms are. The one time I tried to make mushrooms, they burnt up. Shark Dog, how did you try to make mushrooms before? I would love to hear what happened. Really important thing, everybody. Similar to eggplants, you can't cook them dry. So many times I remember growing up and going to my uncle's barbecues in New Jersey. Okay? And no shade to him, he's an excellent guy, but those mushrooms were dry and leathery and inedible, as well as his eggplants. Okay? They were not good to eat. Why? Because they were cooked on a dry grill with radiant heat. The mushrooms were not able to absorb any liquid after they've collapsed, and so they would stay dry, leathery, and chewy. Everybody, with eggplant and with mushrooms alike, you need to begin cooking them in any wet or fatty environment. In a wet or fatty environment, they won't become that dry and leathery and chewy. A method that I loved for eggplant that we recently discovered together, everybody, was microwaving eggplant for about 6-7 minutes after we sliced it and then frying it, because that way it didn't soak up any of the excess oil as much. Just arrived, you generally remove the mushroom stalk or just the end. So in this case, figurative, it depends on your intentions. In my case, I removed all of the stems for texture reasons, and I saved them to make a mushroom stock in the future. Redeeps, how would you deal if you mess up while making these mushrooms? Would you try to fix it later on in the dish or try to remake it? Redeeps, I'm going to tell you right now, this method is so simple and so easy that there's no way to really mess it up. Second of all, sometimes in cooking, mistakes happen that you can't fix, and you need to be okay with the fact that they'll just permanently change your product. Cooking is a very big, nuanced gray area in a lot of ways. You won't be able to optimize everything, and sometimes it's okay for food to come out okay. Everybody, if you don't do exactly what I did here and you sauteed it in oil, here's what'll happen. Yes, the mushrooms will be a little bit greasy, okay, but it'll still be fine-ish at the end of the day. It won't be optimal. But it'll be the best that we can do. The only thing that I discourage you from doing is any kind of dry baking. No dry baking, no baking, no dry grilling either. Always start them off in either a lot of fat or a lot of water, and in the case of a lot of fat, it soaks up all of that fat, okay? So, we're letting them go, we're letting them steam. Let's go ahead and do all of the vegetable prep that we need to do in the meantime, my friends. It's steaming, it's collapsing. Let's begin by peeling up my lovely carrot, okay? This is going to be one of the bases of the soup today. In Italian cooking, in French cooking, you have the sofrito and the mirepoix respectively. Depending on which cuisine that you're actually cooking, my friends, different cuisines have different aromatic bases. Okay, so what does that mean? If you want to make something taste kind of French or Italian, you would use carrots, onions, and celery. If you want to make something Cajun or Creole, you would do the Cajun Creole trinity, which is bell pepper, celery, onions, as well as some garlic. I have carrots, onions, and celery because I want to make it feel like an Italian soup today. So, carrots, I'm going to go ahead and give them a little bit of a peel, just because I didn't feel like washing my carrots today. Give them a peel, get all that skin off, my friends, with a nice sharp peeler, and it seems like my overhead camera has exploded. My overhead camera, guys, it just sometimes explodes. It sometimes does not stay on, and I think that has to do with some USB bandwidth stuff, but that's okay, we're back. It just needs a little deactivation and reactivation. Okay, so peel it up. Excellent. And I don't save my carrot peels for like a stock or anything because they tend to be so thin that they make stalks very, very cloudy. Okay, next. All I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to cut off the dried off tops and bottoms. And everybody, guess what? Because we already have a bag of those frozen mushroom stems, we could save this and use this in a future stock. I'm not going to cook with this because it's so dried out, but in a stock, it'll be delicious. Okay, it'll be wonderful, it'll be lovely. Okay, so two things are gonna happen before we go ahead and continue on with this, everybody. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to check on our lovely mushrooms, as well as my eggplant. They've both gotten to where they need to be. Again, all that I've wanted to achieve at this point, everybody, is to steam my mushrooms and see if they've begun collapsing or not. So, let's go ahead and find the easiest way to lift up this bowl, which is not gonna actually be all that easy, truthfully. Let's see if we can lift it up with some tongs because it is super, super hot. Okay, and then grab that. Everybody come take a look. Look at how much water came out of those mushrooms. That was just a little, that was like a couple tablespoons of water. But that is why your mushrooms are not sauteing. Look at that amount. Look at the sheer quantity of liquid that has come out of these bad boys. Everybody, we have now officially hit the mushroom collapsation stage. They've collapsed, they've given out all of their liquid, and now we need to evaporate all of this liquid. Yup, they basically melted, that's right. All of this was the water in the mushrooms. That is why your mushrooms don't saute properly. Now, we take the lid off because we are going to begin boiling these bad boys down, my friends. We're going to boil them and toil them and let them go and let them do their thing for about 20 minutes or so until that pan is nice and dry. When the pan is dry, that's when we'll add fat, and that's when we will be able to actually properly do the cooking. So, we don't pour it out, Vexillus, because think about it. This is basically like a mushroom stock inside of here. This liquid has all of the dissolved proteins, okay, that came out of the mushroom liquid. When this evaporates, the proteins will then go back to coating the mushrooms as long as we scrape it up properly. So, Shai Chica, you don't have to use a bowl. I use the bowl because I don't have a lid that fits, I don't have a lid that fits this pan. So, my eggplant has been charring and boiling for about 20 minutes or so. I'm going to now go ahead and check on it, and everybody, you're going to see exactly how far the eggplant has come. Okay, I'm going to show you. We're going to do a little inspection. Okay, you can see, take a look. The skin is almost bulging out and it's getting really, really papery. Okay, it's getting really, really papery here. That is exactly what we're looking for. The flesh inside is going to be super soft and super, super delicious. So, only thing that I'm really doing at this stage, everybody, is I'm going in there and I'm flipping my eggplant over. Okay, and I'm flipping my eggplant over. Okay, and this is just going to make sure that we go ahead and we char up all sides of the skin. And it's gonna go back in for about another 20 minutes or so. There is no exact amount of time for this, everybody. It's super variable. It depends on your broiler. It depends on your eggplant. It depends on a lot of different factors. So, Mushrooms are going, eggplants are going. I'm setting a timer for another 20 minutes. Okay? And everybody's just going and doing their own thing at this stage. Let's come back to some of my vegetables. So, I have this lovely carrot here, my friends. Okay? We have a beautiful, lovely carrot. And so we want to go ahead and I want to get a very, very nice small cube. Okay? I want a nice small cube inside of the soup today. If you want big chunks, it'll take a longer time to cook. And I think for today, everybody, I'm only really going to need half of this carrot or so. What advice do you have for somebody that has a problem with the texture of cooked vegetables? Well, Maurice, I'm going to tell you right now, my friend, which is, it really depends on the vegetable that you're struggling with to begin with. But also, a lot of people, when they say they don't like the texture of cooked vegetables, they've very much so grown up, and I'm curious if this applies to you, they've grown up in a family that overcook their vegetables to death. And they think that vegetables have to be soft and mushy all the time. And so, my question for you, Maurice, could you throw me an example of a vegetable texture that you really, really struggle with? And I'm going to see if I can try to change your perspective on it. So, everybody, and also if you struggle with cooked vegetable textures, a very nice go-to piece of advice universally is blend it for soups, or try to make sure that you're always cooking it till it's like really, really crunchy. It is your own soup. It is your own dish. You can decide the final texture of it. So I'm curious what specific textures that you struggle with. Okay, now everybody, I'm going to teach you how to properly process a carrot. So many people do not get this right. I'm going to show you how to get perfect little cubes. Perfect cubes are important so that it cooks up evenly. Let me show you right now what not to do. People take their knife. It could be a sharp knife. And they go in there, okay? They go in there and they want to just cut right down. Look what happens. My knife wedged out. I got this weird little wedge of carrot instead of a beautiful plank. Okay? It's not a beautiful straight flat plank, it wedged out because you chopped it and you didn't slice it. I'm gonna say it again. You chopped it and you didn't slice it. Chopping and slicing are not the same thing. I need to hear ya, chef, from everybody watching, please and thank you. When you chop, your knife does this. This is what your knife does. It goes out. Think of cutting a tree. It's not a straight cut, is it? When you slice, my friends, and you go all the way in, you get a beautiful flat plank. Now, watch us do this correctly this time. Ready? Slice it with all of the length of your knife and look at that plank. Beautiful plank. Ready? Try that again. Take it and slice it with minimal vertical force. Beautiful plank. That is how you get excellent planks of vegetables, my friends. When you chop it, you will cleave it, and you will get these weird little ugly wedges that will become much more difficult to process later on. This is how you do it. Nice sharp knife, and you want to slice all the way down. That's how you do it. This is how it's done, my friends. And slice it. And you don't even have to use a crazy amount of vertical force if your knife is sharp enough. And if your carrot is old enough, it'll also be a little bit softer too. But this is a big, thick, fairly fresh carrot, sharp knife. You have no idea how gentle I'm being. I'm using minimal vertical force, everybody, and yet, beautiful, flat planks every single time. You can do it too. You can do it too. Everybody can do this. Okay? So many professional chefs don't do this properly either. They do these weird rolling chops, awful technique, bad, not good, don't like it. Guys, slice it, don't chop it, yeah? Slice it, don't chop it. Okay, beautiful. Excellent. Joshua Weissman, that's right. And he, I believe, has Michelin experience as well. So this part, guys, what I'm doing right now, probably not the best form, but I just wanted to go ahead and get that processed up a little bit as well. Okay, now that we have planks, we're now going to achieve what is called batons. And batons, as you may guess, just sticks. Nice, thin, beautiful little sticks of carrot, my friends, right? Nice and easy. Anybody can do this. Everybody can do this. Sticks, 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 sticks. Lovely little batons. Let's go ahead and process all the batons. Chef, do you think it's worth getting a mandolin for this? No. Unless you're doing paper thin carrots, this is not paper thin. This you will need a knife for. Now, you could theoretically use a food processor if you're trying to process a lot of carrots at once. I actually highly recommend that as well. In my case today, we're not going to need all that. I might use my food processor for grating the mozzarella cheese just to have fun. But do you think it's worth getting a mandolin for this? Shark Dog, I think you'll spend a lot more time on a mandolin. Mandolins are ideal for things that are really, really thin and really, really big. And in this case, it's none of that. Okay? Guys, look at my beautiful batons. Everybody can have knife skills like these, okay? Everybody can do this. I know I keep repeating myself on this, but I just want to get you guys excited about vegetable prep. So many people, they treat vegetable prep like a chore. They think of it like a hassle. They don't think it can be fun. But everybody, once you have good technique and you have good tools and you go nice and slowly, you will be able to make a lot of amazing, amazing things happen. I promise you that, okay? So my mushrooms are going. We're still boiling down all of the liquid. We're boiling it down. Okay? Then everybody, we're just going to go ahead and grab a nice little stack of these batons. I'm one of these people and you're convincing me? That's right. Everybody, you just need good organizational habits and you need good tools. Chef, have you considered a bread baking stream? So Vexilus, my answer is yes and no. The reason I'm saying no is because I don't think bread is something that is realistic in a home setting all the time. It's fun as a novelty, it's fun as a passion project, but in my case, I'm here to teach you things that you can make on a weeknight. I'm here to teach you things that you can last throughout the week. What we do, however, we made biscuits and we've made soda bread on the stream before because of how accessible they are. And now everybody, take a look. Look at my lovely little cubes. Look at my beautiful little cubes. This is better knife cuts, okay? I think of the ideal. My ideal cut of carrot will be the little cubes of carrot inside of Campbell's Chicken and Stars or Campbell's Chicken Noodle Soup. Those little cubes of carrot have been permanently imprinted into my mind in my childhood. Okay? And so that is the texture of carrots that I'm gonna pursue. Everybody, if you want big chunks of carrots, guess what? You can do big chunks of carrots. Don't let me stop you. It is entirely up to you how you would like to cut it for something like this. But in my case, I want beautiful, dainty, little elegant cuts, right? I want these lovely little cubes. Now, look how stacked my cutting board's getting. Okay? So let's stop the mess now. Let's just go back in, scoop it all up, and throw it into the bowl. And keep your station clean and organized, my friends. If you're ever seeing a pile build up, you don't have to keep going. You can just transfer it somewhere else. Okay? So, let's go in with our next. Look at the stack of carrots, my friends. Look at this lovely stack of batons. Okay? Nice and simple. Nice and simple. Beautiful cubes. Look at that. Wow. She's gorgeous, isn't she? I think so. Yeah, bread makers, I don't actually think it really helps out people. The people that I do know benefited from bread makers. Hey, I'm Daph. A lot of like these sort of older American family constructs where like people are pumping out 8, 9, 10 kids. Bread makers would actually be very useful if they were going through multiple loaves of bread, sometimes even in a single day. And for those families, bread makers are actually exceptionally useful. Otherwise, you know, in the current, like most common way for a lot of Americans to live now, which is either just like with a single partner or with like just roommates or something, bread makers I don't think will exactly fit best into your home cooking routine. So bread makers, I don't actually think are that useful of an appliance, and I will agree with you. The only time that they're really applicable is for very big households as a logistical cost issue, when you can't literally just afford to buy 5 different loaves of bread a day. So guys, look at these cuts. Look at these fucking cubes, dude. These are some of the best cubes I've ever done for carrots, I have to say. That's why I'm so happy about this. Vegetables can be fun. Vegetables can be exciting. Processing vegetables is fun and exciting, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise, okay? Don't let anybody be a hater about this. Look at that. Beautiful. It feels nice to do a good job when it comes to things like this. All right, I'm gonna put that down behind me. Next, everybody, I have one little stick of celery, and that is going to be plenty for my soup today. So, do you know the fibrousness of celery? Do you know how celery sometimes gets stuck in your teeth? This is not essential, the thing I'm about to show you right now. It is not essential for a cooked celery, but it is if you're doing a raw celery, pickled celery, or something like celery sticks for like buffalo wings or something. Everybody, all that we need to do to get rid of those thick fibers, watch this. Take the white part of the celery, break it. Oh, actually, it didn't work out all that well. It was a little too crunchy today. Take the top of the celery, and then you'll be able to peel it back, just like so. And these super, super thick, they're almost like guitar strings, okay? They're really, really thick, and they're really, really chewy, and they can make it for really, really difficult eating sometimes. Now, in my case today, not super necessary to do that because it's all going to cook down. You could also just peel your celery as well if you would like. Just peel it up And that gets rid of a lot of that fibrous quality that I don't actually love all that much. I don't find it to be particularly pleasant or anything. What knife is that? I like knives. That is a Mizuno UX10 Gyuto. So Gyuto refers to the shape. Mizuno is the brand, UX10 is the series. It's a Western style handle, full tang. It's got a Japanese bevel to it, right? As opposed to a Western style bevel. Western style bevels tend to be a little bit wider and they tend to hold up longer, but they're not as sharp. And these are a little bit of a thinner bevel and they tend to be a lot sharper that way. Okay, so everybody, all I'm going to do, we're going to take the celery, and my favorite way to be able to process celery, guys, is I just sort of roll it around the knife like so as I cut it. And I'm trying to get my knife in there, and I'm just following the shape of the celery to be able to get somewhere in between planks and batons, right? So going in there and just getting in there and just breaking this down, breaking this bad boy down. And celery, I find that I really don't like too much of everybody, and I want my celery in super, super, super tiny pieces. I personally hate the taste of biting into a massive chunk of undercooked celery. Okay? I find that it immediately takes over the palate and it takes over everything else that you've been eating. So, instead, to make sure that does not happen at all costs. Also, everybody, back to the mushrooms. Don't forget your mushrooms. They've been boiling. We've reduced so much of the liquid. Everybody, we're about to start sauteing these mushrooms when all of that liquid is gone. Scrape up the bottom to make sure there's none of that mushroomy proteins stuck around it. The mushrooms are almost ready to be sauteed, everybody, and I'm gonna show you how delicious and golden they can get. Okay, so I'm just getting these really, really nice thin batons once again. And then we're going to do an even smaller cut than we did on the carrots, everybody. Again, the celery, aromatic, delicious, but what I really, really hate about celery is raw celery. I hate raw celery in soups. I hate raw celery in salads. Not crazy about it. But it can still be delicious if we do it right. So, how do we do it right, everybody? Well, here we go. We have all of our lovely little batons. What are we going to do with these bad boys? We're going to take them and we're going to do the world's thinnest possible cut. Thin, small, small. Listen, if you like big chunks of celery, by all means, go ahead, do whatever floats your boat. This is your soup at the end of the day. Nice and small, nice and pretty, nice and perfect. I'm gonna go to my mushrooms, I'm gonna lower the heat on them because they're about to enter the sauteing stage and I do not want them to burn and stick to the bottom. I like doing sauteed mushrooms in a non-stick pan just because it really, really helps to make sure that none of that fond, none of that protein liquid squelches on the bottom, okay? How much does it matter to have that? So Tarina, it is entirely preference. Knives are either half tang or full tang. Half tang knives are more top heavy because the metal does not extend all the way into the handle. It makes for a lighter knife, but it changes the balance of it. Tarina, it is entirely and totally up to you if you want a half tang or a full tang knife. Totally up to you. It is purely preference. There is no such thing as better. Some people think full tang is better just because it has more metal. That would be a really, really huge misconception. Okay, that would not be the right way to think about something like this. Guys, look at my celery. Look at that beautiful, beautiful cut up celery that we have. And again, if you're gonna make a big batch of this stuff, if you're making a lot more mirepoix, feel free to use something like a food processor. Okay, beautiful cubes of celery. Take it, scrape it up, and add it to the bowl with the carrots. Thank you, Chef, legitimately. Well, Tina, I'm happy to help out. Okay. We're gonna stop for a second, everybody, because we're about to enter the sauteing stage. So come back to the stove. The water has both absorbed back into the mushrooms and it's dried up. You can hear the sound changing. It's beginning to sound drier. Less of a psh, it's beginning to hit a psh sound. When this pan is almost completely dry, everybody, meaning all that brown mushroomy liquid is gone, that is when we will go in with some olive oil. And it's going to cook and saute in the olive oil. We'll do a mixture of olive oil and butter today, I think. I think that'll be delicious. Okay? And so all I'm doing right now is I'm with a wooden spoon. Remember, this is a non-stick pan, no metal, only wood or silicone. I'm going in there and I'm just making sure that nothing is stuck to the bottom. That would be all of the little proteins because they were previously dissolved in the liquid. We don't want them to be on the bottom, everybody. We want them to be coating our mushrooms instead. So get in there and move it around and show it who's boss. Guess who's boss, everybody? You. You're the boss of these mushrooms. So the pan is just about drying up. When you hear it sizzling, that's when we go in with oil. Add oil now, it'll be a little bit preemptive, it'll splash all over the place. You're going to see how beautiful my mushrooms become. It was a long process, but you give them a lot of love, you give them a lot of care, you give them a lot of attention, and you'll see how delicious it all becomes, okay? So, it's bubbling up, it's foaming, it's still continuing to evaporate. This is the stage where you cannot leave it unattended. Again, all of that mushroomy liquid, as it boils away, everybody, it can and will burn if you do not babysit it. So scrape up that bottom, and let those proteins coat the mushrooms instead. It doesn't look like much now, but it will. If YouTube demonetized the Faga episode, I can't wait to see what happens to this one. They might end up demonetizing fagioli. Because, you know, they demonetized my Faga, which is chicken pho. It's crazy to think about, but it's really funny. It's hilarious that they did that. Everybody, listen. It's foaming up. Oh yeah, they demonetized my Faga video, my Faga VOD, because it sounds like something else that I can't say on twitch.tv. Oh yeah. It's happening, everybody. It's getting there slowly but surely. Okay, now, almost there. I'm lowering the heat even more. You don't want to burn those proteins, my friends. Why do you ask? Great question, Vexilus. I wonder what it could possibly be. I need to go back in, and I need to check on my eggplants really quickly, everybody. You can see, I want you to see my eggplants. They're beginning to really collapse. Only thing that my eggplants need is another rotation. We're giving them a quarter turn, and we're letting them cook even more, everybody. I want these eggplants to be falling apart, essentially. You are going to see how beautiful my eggplant flesh on the inside is after it's cooked. So, get it back under, give it a quarter turn, remember which side it was, and now, everybody, guess what? The mushrooms, the liquid has just about evaporated. We're almost done with the wet cooking part. And now, my friends, we can begin transitioning. Well, I already have been transitioning for 4 years, but we can begin getting into the sauteing stage. So I want a mixture of 2 different things. I don't just want olive oil. I want some olive oil and I want some butter. So that's exactly what we're going to do, my friends. Beautiful extra virgin olive oil going inside. The pan is almost dry. Give it a second. Give it one more second. I'm going to get some butter out of my fridge. We're not going to saute these on a high heat because we are using butter and olive oil. If you do use a high heat, you do risk scorching the butter and losing all the flavor from the extra virgin olive oil. So nice medium low or so. And now, my friends, begins the sauteing stage. Add in a generous amount of extra virgin olive oil and get it in there. And the mushrooms will begin frying and they'll begin sauteing. They will no longer need to boil, my friends. Okay, now, kosher salt. Let's get these mushrooms nice and seasoned. Okay, a couple of big pinches of kosher salt. And let's get a little bit of butter in there as well. Again, just mixing the olive oil and the butter just for flavor purposes. Everybody, we are entering the sauteing stage. You can hear how the sound is changing, isn't it? The sound is changing. Oh, and we're getting there. Add it all in. And now we can get the mushrooms golden. We can get them browning at this point, my friends. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for. Mushroom hack is crazy. Thanks for teaching us, chef. I wouldn't call it a hack as much as it is just good technique, but I'm happy to help out Askia. This is not my own technique. This is a technique that has been around for quite a bit on the internet already. And it's been, really popularized by America's Test Kitchen, I feel like, as well as a lot of other food content creators. There's not a lot of very good techniques that I feel like YouTube is able to output, but this is absolutely one of them if there was ever anything to take away. Okay. The mushrooms. Now, they're really dark in color, and that just has to do with like the weird little part on the inside of the mushrooms. That just happens sometimes. You don't gotta worry about it too much. Chef, do the mushrooms get the lid at all? Only in the beginning, Turina. Only in the beginning of the cooking process. Okay, my eggplant, it's not gonna need that much more time, everybody. It's been going, it's gonna get soft, it's gonna be collapsing. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes on that one side, and then we'll give it another quarter turn. Then we'll wrap it up and let it steam. my mushrooms, they're sauteing, everybody. They're coming together and they're getting there and they're going to be really, really nice and delicious inside of this pie. Okay, next, let's go ahead and process up the onion. I'm going to need about half an onion for the pie and half an onion for the soup. For the pie, I don't really want sauteed onions particularly. I just want to go ahead and get beautiful strings of onion inside. Okay, and I think that would be really, really delicious. We're going to soften them a little bit while we're cooking the mushrooms down. Everybody, nice medium, low heat. You can hear it sizzling. It's not absorbing the fat anymore, is it? That is how you saute a mushroom at home. Please tell me a yes, chef, right now. I just want to make sure that you all understand the magic that we've accomplished here. So, onion, we're going to cut his head off. Off she goes, away she goes. Next, we're going to go ahead and cut it in half just like this. And so we have a bit of a dilemma. On the inside of the onion, we have this little guy that we have to pop out. Right? It's just a little bit overgrown. It is not the world's freshest onion by any means. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel the skin first. I'm peeling the skin, and then we'll have to go in there and really process up this onion a little bit more, my friends. Again, not the world's freshest onion, but yet we can still use it. It's not spoiled. It's not rotten. It'll still be perfect. Okay, onion. 1, 2. Cut it out. Make that incision. Get him out of here. Get him out of sight, and get him out of mind. 1, 2. Pop him out. Get him out of here. We're not going to want any of this yucky stuff in our final product. Okay. Back to the mushrooms, my friends. They're sauteing. They're getting golden. The smell of the mushrooms is getting really, really nice and delicious at this point, right? We're browning them. We're developing much, much needed flavor, right? It's difficult to tell how brown they are because, again, the black part of the mushroom really did stain it quite a bit, but that's okay. So, for my mushrooms, we're going to take half of this onion, and I'm imagining like almost long strings of onion inside of this pie. So we're just going to slice it up really, really thin, perpendicular to the grain of the onions, just like so. And we're just going to go ahead and throw that in. And this is going to add in a little bit of extra sweetness into the final pie, my friends. Again, we don't really care about getting a lot of browning on it. We're not really going to be caramelizing this onion. We're really just going to soften it at this stage. And it's going to add in a little bit of much needed sweetness. Right? We're going to have the smoky charred eggplant. We're going to have these deep, meaty, roasted mushrooms in there. So get all that in. Also, Lloyd Velos, welcome on in. And also Charlie Keller, welcome to the show. How'd you find the cooking show? I'm curious. So, all of these onions. Just going to go ahead and add these bad boys in. And then the rest of it is going to go towards the soup. So, back to the stove. Let's mix in the onions. And again, everybody, all we're really looking to do is just soften up these bad boys. We're not really looking to get any meaningful color. We're giving them a bit of a head start in the cooking process so that it mixes up into the pie easily, adds in a little bit of sweetness, and then it'll be able to bake off really nicely as well. It's going to make the pan a little bit wet as the onions do release some of their own liquid inside as well. Let them go. Let them do their own thing for a little bit. And we're just going to get these onions somewhat cooked down as well. I know this doesn't look very appealing yet, but it's going to be excellent. I followed you a while ago, but haven't been in here for a bit. I found you under the food and drink category. Watch a lot of food and drink streamers. Well, it's lovely to have you, Lloyd Velos. Welcome on in. Okay, everybody, we're going to do the final quarter turn on the eggplant. Now, I know we've been juggling a lot. We've been doing a lot of different weird little unrelated tasks. The eggplant, it is collapsing. The skin is burnt and papery, and that is exactly what we want. Flip it over one last time, and let's collapse that last side, my friends. Remember, you can't overcook this eggplant. You don't need to worry about it tasting burnt because we're going to peel all of that skin away. And everybody, I'm going to show you how beautifully the eggplant peels. So back in it goes, 5 more minutes, and then it will be perfect. 3, 4, 5, excellent. My onions, my mushrooms, it's all going, it's all cooking down, and we're just gonna get these onions nice and soft. I'm gonna taste a little mushroom as well, just for good measure. See how we've come along. Everybody, that is perfect. I need you to understand that mushroom is so flavorful. It's not slimy, it's not wet, it's browned, and it's sauteed, and the meatiness really, really comes together. That is the magic of actually knowing how to correctly saute your mushrooms. That is the magic of the step that I showed you, my friends. It's all technique and it's all theory, and you can make food this delicious too. That is what I am here to show you how to do. So many people, they have mushrooms that suck. They're soggy, they're slimy, and they're boiled to death instead of having any of that meaty flavor developed. So, everybody, this onion, look at it. Not the best in the world, is it? So we're going to need to prepare this in a slightly unconventional way today. I'm going to cut it into these weird little segments just so that we can expose the inside of the onion and then hopefully scoop out all of this overgrown stuff out. Again, this is not the world's freshest onion, but it's still going to be delicious. So let's do exactly that. Not the world's most conventional way to prepare it, but desperate times and desperate measures. I want to use this onion without wasting it, and I'm showing you how to save an onion. The only time is you just don't want it if it looks particularly moldy, my friends. This is not moldy, this is simply overgrown instead. So, I'm just going in there and carving off all of these overgrown parts. That's right, nothing I had never done, that's right. Everybody, especially because of the fact that this is getting cooked, there is no food safety concerns here that you have to have in mind, okay? Just trust in the process. It'll be delicious. It'll be lovely. We'll be able to save this onion. A lot of people, they freak out when vegetables don't look perfect on the inside, and I understand that. There is so much fear-mongering when it comes to food and when it comes to food safety especially. But I'm not going to show you how to make things that are unsafe. I'm here to dispel some of your fears, my friends. Right? A lot of people are very averse to vegetables, and I don't blame them. I'm not here to make fun of people that are averse to vegetables and people that are averse to mold and things that are rotten. People just were never taught properly. Okay? Food, yeah, that's right. Food is imperfect sometimes. So, everybody, we're going to be pursuing a small dice, just like we did the carrots, and we're going to fan out these onions. We're going to fan them out. We're going to fan them out just like this. And now that we fanned them out, take a look at what we can do. Ready? Beautiful, 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 small dice, the easiest of all of the vegetables so far. Small to a fine dice, really. How to tell if lettuce has gone bad? Really good question, Vexillus. So the answer is the following. Lettuce does go bad fairly quickly. You don't want your lettuce to look visibly brown and for it to look like it's basically disintegrating and leaving a residue on your hands. Lettuce, the older it is, the more limp and pathetic it'll become. Okay? Sorry, I should not have... Right, it'll become a lot more limp, and it'll begin sort of like falling over on itself. Lettuce at that point can be used, but if my spinach is at that point, I'd prefer to cook with the spinach instead of a raw application. Isn't there a service that ships imperfect vegetables to give them another chance? I'm not sure, Trash Can Cat Mom. I think there is, but I think they might be like a slightly like greenwashing thing, and it might be like a bit of a scam. Okay, also, here's the thing also. When I worked in a soup kitchen for a little bit, I volunteered when I was in high school. In New York City, we have like a mandatory volunteering thing that we have to do. But I volunteered in a soup kitchen. The vegetables that we would get would oftentimes be the aftermarket produce. Things like carrots that were not shaped the right way. Carrots with a bit of like, some bits of it that were rotten. Because of the fact that carrots are not particularly porous, right? The inside of it could still be fresh and delicious to eat as long as we carve it up and get it ready for service. Right? So vegetable prep is not as important in cleanliness with vegetables when it comes to the perfect supermarket ones because they've gone through this insane process of selection. I really want to be able to get my hands more on off produce, right? Get the second hand stuff. It can be as delicious, it just takes a little bit more effort when it comes to processing. Produce at different stages has just different characteristics. It's all different. Okay, take it and get that small cube. Look at that. Yeah, it was mandatory volunteering. That's right. We had to volunteer for a certain amount of hours. And when I was a kid, I kind of complained about it. But in retrospect, I think it was great that they had us do that because my time in the soup kitchen, guys, I'm gonna just put it to you this way: as like a sheltered middle-class white kid that grew up in South Brooklyn, right? Working in a soup kitchen was a very nice way of getting me to also not be as sheltered in some ways. So, my eggplant is all done, everybody. We can go ahead and pull it out. Let's go back in here. So yeah, I think it was actually great that they had us do that. In retrospect, I think that was a very, very lovely system. It really helped to genuinely broaden my horizons in a lot of different ways. Right? Okay, so off goes the broiler. Everybody, my eggplant is beautifully charred, and now it's time for us to steam the eggplant. Okay, what does that mean? We're going to simply take it and cover it up with foil. Look at this pathetic eggplant. It is completely fallen over, but that is exactly what we want. Serena, thank you so much for the gift of sub. Thank you, thank you. The mushrooms and onions, I'm gonna say with confidence, they're done, they're softened, they're exactly what they need to be. Only thing I'm gonna do now is I'm going to take the eggplants and wrap it up in a little bit of foil. That's it. Take it, wrap it up in the foil, because as it steams, my friends, it's going to both finish the cooking process and it's also going to allow us to easily peel off the skin. Otherwise, the skin just kind of flakes off, not as easily. So let it steam 20 minutes or so, something like that, just like that, nice and easy, perfect. They're absolutely destroyed, but that's okay. That is exactly what we wanted, my friends. That is exactly what we were looking for. Now we have to do the rest of the prep that's going to be going into these phyllo pies. The eggplant is steaming, the mushrooms and onions are done. We're missing the cheese. I'm also going to be using some bulgur wheat to soak up some of the excess liquid to stop my pie from being too soggy. So we have to grate the cheese. We're going to add in an egg. We have to actually prepare the pie itself, and we also need to preheat the oven, my friends. So let's go ahead and begin all of that now. My ingredients are cooling down. We want them to be cool to the touch. The reason why we want them to be cool to the touch is because if they're too hot, they're just going to immediately start melting the cheese. So just let all this stuff cool off, put it to the side, and let it do its thing. Everybody, let's do a bit of a recap session actually while we're at it. Welcome on in, welcome to the cooking show. If you're just tuning in, I want to hear a nice resounding yes chef from everybody watching, please and thank you. We're going to be doing two dishes. We're going to be doing a pasta fagioli, which is a bean and pasta soup. Midnight Cicada, welcome on in. And we're also using up some leftovers to make a feta, no, not a feta, a mozzarella cheese, onion, mushroom, eggplant, parsley pie in phyllo dough. It's gonna be nice and crispy, it's gonna be nice and delicious, it's gonna be melty, it's gonna be cheesy, and it's above all else going to be wonderful, and it's gonna be awesome. So we've gotten my vegetable prep for the soup done. This is carrots, onions, and celery. In French cooking, this would be called a mirepoix. In Italian cooking, this would be called a sofrito. We have my mushrooms and onions cooked. I taught you how to perfectly saute them. And we've also charred up some eggplant, and we're letting it steam so that we can peel off the skin. We have to shred the mozzarella cheese. We have to add in the egg. We have to mix everything in, and then I will show you how to actually assemble the pie itself with the phyllo dough. I want to experiment more with phyllo dough because I had some of it left over, and I'm inspired from my spanakopita. Everybody, if you'd like to support the cooking show, if you like what you're seeing here, please, please, please check out my Patreon, !Patreon. I've turned off all advertisements on Twitch. I can't turn off the pre-roll ads. Twitch literally doesn't let you. But my goal is to make all of this information free and accessible. This is a home cooking show. I want this home cooking show to have all of its content out there and accessible because, hey, the people that benefit from learning how to cook at home the most, are often the ones that don't have the money to buy paywalled content. Supporting the Patreon does not give you any paywalled content whatsoever. I just encourage anybody with a bit of extra pocket change, anybody that would be able to do so, either !tip, !donate to follow those links, or go into the Patreon and subscribe. I've had a lot of expenses lately, just because, I've moved out, I'm living on my own now, I'm paying rent. And so not to keep shilling, but again, the goal is to be able to make this full-time one day, and any and all support there is what is able to help us to get to a point of being full-time. So I'm gonna have a little sip of water, and then we can go ahead and proceed with all the other stuff we need to do, my friends. So, mozzarella cheese, notoriously soft. If you were to try and grate this right now, as it is, a really big problem with it is that it is so soft. It's soft and it's mushy and it's going to crumble instead of getting beautiful shreds. So, everybody, my favorite technique for soft cheeses when you want to crumble them or shred them. This applies to mozzarella cheese. This applies to feta. This applies to Monterey Jack or something. Put it into the freezer for 20 to 30 minutes and let it firm up. Let it firm up, and then you will see and you will be rewarded with it just shredding up so much easier. Throw it inside, let it go ahead and do its thing, okay? Next, let's go ahead and get some of my parsley prepped in the meantime, okay? We're gonna have some parsley that goes into this pie. It'll be lovely, it'll be delicious. And we don't want too much parsley. Parsley can easily become overwhelming, my friends. Okay, but this is just very much so still in the taste of like Italian food, Greek food, that kind of thing. So I'm only going to do, let's say this much parsley, this much going into it, and a lot of the flavor will die down as it does cook down, okay? So again, I just don't want it to be aggressively parsley-like. I don't like the texture of the stems, so we're just gonna go ahead and pluck it. And we're gonna pluck it and pluck it and pluck it to our heart's content, my friends. Pluck it up, pluck it up, pluck it up, pluck it up. Beautiful. And discard those stems. Pluck it up, pluck it up, pluck it up. Get all those toothy stems out of there, get them out of sight, and get them out of mind, everybody. Just get them all out of here. And there's no real method to this. You just go in there and you pluck them off. Right? We're just taking extra caution to not get any of the big thick stems. Again, parsley was one of my inspirations for today, as well as my block of mozzarella cheese. Home cooking should always be about using up the things that you have first. Okay? Estrella, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you, thank you. Welcome on in. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Already 3 months. Wow. Getting in there and pluck it. And pluck it all up. And get a bunch of these lovely little leaves. Yeah, that's right. Use what you got. In the interest of using what you got, everybody, if you have fresh tarragon, if you have fresh cilantro, if you have maybe fresh basil, those would all be amazing additions to something like this. This show is not about teaching you recipes. That is the last thing that we want to do. Recipes are things that are meant to be exactly repeated. I'm here to show you technique and theory and really explain to you why we're doing every single little thing that we do. Everything that we do, everybody, has a reason behind it. I've been cooking for a very long time. I can describe to you with full and utmost intention. So this parsley, just to help it to easily distribute a little bit inside, we're just going to give this a little bit of a slice. Never chop it, never crush it. Time to go make my cat hate me for the rest of the week or so. Oh no, Zlo, you gotta take your cat to the vet? Is that what's going on? Is that what's happening, kid? I think it is. Good luck with that. Guys, just slice it up. Just get it slightly processed so that we don't bite into a massive chunk of parsley when we're eating our lovely little pie. Okay, we just want the flavors to distribute nicely. Getting her spade? Oh man, that's tough. Well, I can't relate. I've never, the only animals I've ever owned was a couple of Russian tortoises when I was younger. So, good luck, have fun, I suppose. Go in there and slice up all of your parsley. Slice it up, slice it up, slice it up. Get a little bit processed. And then we'll go ahead and we'll add it in. My roommate came in and is now doing a dance in front of me, and I'm trying very hard to not get distracted. But Vixen, you can come on camera and say hi if you would like to, but you don't have to. You don't want to? Okay, go ahead. So I got just somewhat distracted. Faye came out of her room, danced in front of my face, and then left. While I'm working my job. Can't believe this. Okay. Anyways, that's enough shade. That's enough of that. I'm gonna go ahead and make a little bit of, you know what? We don't even need a separate bowl or anything. We don't need a separate bowl because I'm going to be grating my mozzarella in the food processor just to be able to get it all done. I love being able to show off my fancy food processor any chance that I can. So that's what we'll be using for that. So let's go ahead and get the stuff all scraped off. Let's get it scraped off. Let's put it onto my nice little transfer plate, everybody. I'll go ahead and set that back down behind me. Next, I'm going to want to get plenty of fresh garlic inside of my pie, everybody. Okay, I want that perfume, I want that flavor, I want that aroma, okay? I want it all. So let's do a nice aggressive amount. We're going to do about 4 cloves of garlic, or rather, I'm going to do the garlic for my soup as well, all in one shot. So, a bunch of garlic is the answer, okay? A bunch of garlic. You can never have too much garlic, my friends. Can I please get a yes, chef, from everybody watching, please, and thank you? You can never have too much garlic. This is going to be going between the pie as well as the soup. Okay, what is the best way to peel garlic? Well, it is the method that I feel like everybody by now knows, but in case you did not know, you're gonna find out right now. Ready? Same exact concept almost as like peeling an eggplant, which is the skin on the outside is papery and never softens, but the flesh does if you crush it. By crushing it, you preserve the skin, but the outer part of the flesh crushes just enough that it's able to separate from the skin because it holds its shape. The skin, even when crushed, it might crunch up a little bit, but it holds its shape, everybody. So smash it down, give it a nice big aggressive smash, and you'll see that the garlic just pops right out of the skin. right? Same principle for something like eggplant. By charring it so much, you make the skin papery and the flesh soft. Soft flesh plus papery skin equals easy to peel vegetables. That is why blanching tomatoes, for example, works. Right? When you take tomatoes and you dip them in boiling water, the skin never softens, but the flesh just under it softens enough that it almost crushes in a way, and the skin preserves its shape and is able to easily peel off that way. I don't think you necessarily needed a very big physical description for this. I just wanted to help you guys to understand why this mechanism works. Why, crushing garlic is almost similar to charring eggplant and blanching tomatoes, right? It's a lot of really related concepts if you think about it. So I just want to build you all this understanding of feel. Did that make sense? Is there anybody that was like, whoa, I get it now, Daramgar? Or were people confused by my explanation? Because I think I just described like an abstract concept to all of you. Really, I'm just trying to explain, why do vegetables peel? Why do they peel sometimes? Right? So this garlic clove, a little bit strange, a little bit weird. I'm going to go ahead and give them another little smash down. And of course, everybody, again, if you have any and all questions, now would be an amazing time to ask. It doesn't just have to be about this dish. It can be about anything else that you've got going on. Because remember, I'm here to teach you how to cook. This piece of garlic, actually, it's looking a little bit off. So we'll just go ahead and discard it. There you go. Crush it, smash it, do whatever it is you got to do. Excellent. Excellent. And one last little garlic clove. Beautiful. That's it. Nice and simple, nice and easy. Get it all done and get it out of here. My mozzarella is freezing up in the freezer just so that it gets nice and firm. I'm going to quickly rinse off the sticky garlic off my fingertips. Get them out of here. Goodbye. I have no use for you, buddy boy. And I'm going to go ahead and just get all these scraps off my cutting board. Yeah, you pour in hot water on tomatoes, the skin really does just kind of pop off like that, right? Nice and simple. So, everybody, all I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to cut off the dried off butts off the bottom of the garlic. It seems like we have somebody here to deliver the package. Come in. Okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and quickly trim off the bottoms of all of my garlic cloves. One by one. One by one. Just like so, my friends. Beautiful. Okay, now, as you all may know, I really do not like chopping garlic. Chopping garlic, I find it to be really, really annoying because garlic is sticky. It sticks everywhere. It sticks to your fingers. So we use my garlic press. I love my garlic press. If you don't own a garlic press, I think you're making a mistake. Take it, load it up, and crush it and smash it, my friends. And smash it up and smash it up. Ugh. I'm putting crab rangoon filling in instead of fried tofu. What would chef spoon in? Oh, I don't know, Serena Chess. Is there tofu? Wait, what do you mean? Is there tofu in fried crab rangoon? Press it all the way in there, my friends. Get it in there, get it pressed. And so some of this garlic will be for the soup, and some of it will be for the pie. Excellent. Scrape it all off, get it out of there. Probably a butter knife would be the best form so that we don't dull our knife on this or anything, but I think it'll be okay. This garlic press, once again, it sucks, but the amazing somebody or another got me a new garlic press on my throne. Okay, so a bunch of garlic cloves. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly wash this up, my friends, before it dries. Always, 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 with garlic cloves, with garlic press, with graters, with blenders, wash them as soon as you can. Because that way, nothing is gonna dry, nothing is gonna stick, right? You leave it to dry, you leave it to stick, you don't soak it in anything, and it's going to become so much more difficult to clean in the future. So clean it all now, my friends. Clean it now, get it going, get it done with, get it out of here. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw this into my dishwasher because we're officially done with it. Okay. So, we're almost done with all of the filling, everybody. This is our garlic. Our parsley is done as well. My eggplant is still continuing to steam up a little bit longer. I think I'm going to do the addition of 1 egg. The reason why I want to do the egg is just to help bind everything. The cheese is going to be a nice binder, but the egg is really going to make sure that everything is bound up as it cooks. And then we'll measure about ½ a cup of bulgur wheat, my friends. The bulgur wheat is also going to soak up a lot of the excess liquid and stop it from becoming too wet, right? Otherwise, the phyllo won't be able to get crispy. I am doing this inspired off of my spanakopita that we did recently. My oven, I'm preheating to 400 degrees. Get that going, get that cooking. We're gonna do one little egg, my friends. And so, as always, the best way to crack eggs, flat surface and go harder than you think. Go flat surface and harder than you think. Why do you need to go harder than you think? Well, if you don't do it hard enough, you're not actually going to penetrate the membrane. Hard, ready? And one hand, open it up. If you do it from too high, you'll crack the yolk. In my case, it's all getting mixed in. It'll be perfect. That's how you crack eggs. A lot of people, they do it on the edge. On an edge, you're not able to get as wide of a crack as you would like. You want a nice flat surface, crack it nice, crack it heavy, and it'll all get inside, my friends. So the reason why my yolk burst is because I dropped it from too high. That's the biggest mistake you can make. Drop it close and your egg yolk won't burst even if you drop it and crack it really, really aggressively. Okay? So that's going. That's looking good. Honestly, everybody, I believe now might be a good time for us to begin shredding up my mozzarella cheese. So chat, everybody that's watching, all my lovely sous chefs, shall we use a food processor? Or do you think that we could do something fun? Should we do a grater food processor is my question. Food processor, we're gonna have more dishes to wash, but it's very fun watching it go. So think about me in this case. Do we use a box grater or do we use a food processor? Everybody watching, I want you to weigh in on this. I'm gonna take a second just to quickly clean up and get rid of a couple of things while I can. Get these bad boys thrown into the freezer with my mushroom stems. And that'll just be used for the stock at some point or another. Great. Yeah, I think today might not be a food processor day after all. Yeah, okay. Great isn't as exciting as the machine, I think. I think so too. You know what? Everybody, I know I've asked your input, but I think I've already independently decided on my own that I kind of want to use the food processor for this. I want to do the food processor. That's what we're going to go ahead and do. Okay. I've decided. I've done it all. Okay. I've figured out what I wanted. Use both? No, that would be way too many dishes. I could never justify such a silly thing. Never, never, never. Okay, let's go ahead and grab my massive, beautiful Magimix food processor. I love this thing to death. The reason why, I believe this is the same brand that does the restaurant version called the Robocoup. It has a very, very powerful motor. So, here we go. You're gonna see how quickly it processes up my mozzarella cheese for me. Okay? Get it? Get it plugged in, please. Why is it not plugging in? What's going on with my outlet? Stop it, chill out, thank you. Wonderful. This is my lovely Magimix, everybody. I have my grating attachment already on it in the event that everybody said yes, and not everybody said yes, but I've already decided. You guys are going to see how beautiful my shreds of mozzarella are. Is everybody ready for this? I want to hear another yes, chef, please and thank you. So, mozzarella cheese. Again, this was my main inspiration for today. I wanted to use this because, well, I had a bunch of it. I wanted to use that before it went bad. And a nice way to use up a bunch of cheese is to bake it into something else. So, let's go ahead and get a couple of blocks of mozzarella cheese ready to go. And now, we're going to take this bad boy. I believe it is with this that I need to do that. Okay? Get it in. It should now be fully slotted in. One. That's one done already, just like that. Now, I don't think I froze my mozzarella enough, so it's not really shredding it up super, super beautifully. It's not giving us long shreds or anything, but that is gonna still be okay. Honestly, a hand grater would have been able to do a bit of a better job. These are really, really fine shreds that we're getting. We didn't freeze it enough. That's all right. One last block. But look how much faster this is able to do than, you know. And just let that run for a second. Let that run. Let that run enough that we get all that cheese in there and all that cheese nice and processed. And that's it. It is like cheating, isn't it? That was quick. That was simple. That was really, really easy. We got it all processed. We got it all broken down. And now it's all ready to go for when we got to use it. Okay, what do we actually have left to do, everybody? Well, it is time for us to go ahead and scoop out the eggplant. Okay, we have a lot of different components. We have a lot of different moving parts. So we have to stay focused. We have to stay on task here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I think we're going to use this bowl to be able to make all of the filling for my pie today. I think this should be able to fit everything really, really nicely. So I'm going to try to hopefully get this transferred out into a separate vessel. Free this bad boy up. So just give me one moment, and then we'll peel up the eggplant, everybody, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is to process the eggplant. You're going to see it. You're going to see how much it collapses. You're going to see how much it really, really falls apart. You're going to see how soft and juicy it is, and how smoky and delicious it's all going to be, everybody. So that's my mille pois, my sofrito rather, because we are making Italian food, not French food. Okay, now it's time. I'm going to go ahead and tie up my hair for the stage. We're going to get on a couple of gloves, and then you are going to see, everybody, the majesty that is this charred eggplant. It's going to peel up easier than anything that you've ever seen before. I'm going to grab a spoon, a couple of nice large spoons to be able to scrape off all the flesh. Will I be able to lift a sheet tray without hurting myself? I do believe I will. Let's get it done. Let's get it processed. Let's get it happening, my friends. So, to the eggplant we go. Let's slowly open it up. It's going to still be really, really hot. Everybody, this eggplant has been charred into oblivion. I need you to understand, okay? It's been charred into oblivion, and that is exactly what we wanted. That is exactly what we're looking for. I'm going to put on a couple of gloves. It's super, super hot. The flesh on the inside is going to be creamy, it's going to be tender, and it's going to be roasted. That is what we want. So, we're going to take it, and we're going to move it to the side. My oven has officially preheated, so we get to soon assemble the pie. Let's grab it, and we're going to go ahead and make an incision right on top, just like so, and split it right down the middle. And then everybody, the eggplant just opens up, and look at it. Look at it. That is exactly what we wanted to see. I want you to see, okay, exactly how the skin comes off and the flesh on the inside, look at it, it just peels away. It just peels away. I still did not order my new black gloves, I'm afraid. That's all. The flesh on the inside, soft, tender, delicious. It peels away from the skin with this gentle, gentle cooking method, my friends. Not gentle at all, actually. So, all that I'm going to go ahead and do, we're going to grab the strainer, because this liquid, okay, it'll both make our pie a little bit too wet. It also is notorious for being a little bit bitter sometimes. We're going to grab it, and we're going to put it into the strainer. We're just going to scoop up all of this eggplant, seeds and all. Don't worry about those seeds, guys. Scoop it up and get them out of here. And you will notice how this flesh just comes right off of the eggplant. Scoop it up. Not as easy as last time. I think I could have let this bad boy steam longer, but I think this is still going to be perfect. Right? All of this flesh, guys, all of it, super, super soft, super gentle, super delicate, super tender. That might be a lot of seeds, actually. Wow. That's the most amount of seeds I've seen in an eggplant. This one might have been a little too dense when I bought it. That's on me. Right? You don't want to get any of this charred skin, guys. The skin did its job. It protected the flesh, right, as it cooked. Okay. We basically got all the flesh out, my friends. A couple more little bits that we can go ahead and salvage. Look at that eggplant. That is perfectly cooked eggplant, okay? That is exactly what we wanted to achieve here. It's soft, it's tender, it's really, really supple. That is perfect. Okay? Get all of that lovely flesh. Look at that flesh, huh? Gorgeous. Everybody, It is sweet and meaty. It is not burnt. Despite the skin being burnt and charred, the eggplant itself is absolutely perfect. Okay? That's one of them done. Look at all that skin. Let's go ahead and do the next one. That is the magic of this method, everybody. It's easy and anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. Anybody at all. Cut it in half. Let's open it up. Let's open it up. Let's open it up. Let's reveal this eggplant that's on the inside, guys. Look at how this skin peels away. Well, I hate blue gloves, Tulina, because I just hate the color blue. I love red and I love black. Those are my favorite colors. And so I want everything I own to always be red and black all the time. Look at that. Look at that flesh. Out she comes. It's just hot enough for my hands to be able to handle, or just cool enough, rather. Almost done. Just getting rid of it. Getting rid of it. Hi, Kaze. Welcome on in. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Okay, everybody, I think that we have successfully removed all the flesh. That's exactly what we wanted to achieve. That's perfect. Let's go ahead and get rid of all this. This is like a big pocket of seeds. That won't actually be the best eating at all. And that's it. That's how easy this method was. So, let's get rid of this. We don't need this anymore, my friends. Goodbye to you. See you later, free alligator. We have all of this eggplant. And all I did, everybody, I just popped it onto a little strainer to get rid of some of this excess liquid. Give it a little shake, give it a little shake, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Okay, you don't want to press it through the strainer. You just want to get some of that excess liquid out, my friends. Okay, it'll just make the pie a little bit too soggy, soggier than we would like for today. I'm rinsing out that liquid because it tends to be a little bit bitter. I'm going to wipe my bowl dry, and everybody, we can begin assembling my filling. For my pie. So, eggplant. It's officially inside. We need to go ahead and season it. Remember, this is all bland eggplant. So, kosher salt and black pepper going in. A couple big pinches of kosher salt. Black pepper. Where's my pepper grinder? There she is. And we're also going to need plenty of extra virgin olive oil too. I'm not measuring, going purely by vibes, purely by feel. Okay, and let's mix it up. Let's break it up a little bit. Let's add in some olive oil. We're not emulsifying this. We're not doing a baba ganoush or anything. We're just mixing in some olive oil. Good amount of olive oil, everybody. Nice aggressive amount, yeah? Looks like a bowl of squid. It does a little bit, doesn't it? Okay, let's get the rest of the components of my filling. Next, let's do the mushrooms and the onions. They've cooled down enough that we can mix them in without worrying about the eggplant getting too warm, and then we'll mix in the egg. Mushrooms and onions. The cheese is going to be the last addition, okay? And we're also going to do some bulgur wheat to soak up a lot of this excess liquid, my friends. Because as this cooks, it's going to expel a little bit of moisture, especially out of the mozzarella cheese. So, mix it all in, mix it in, mix it in, give it a little taste. That is delicious. That is so yummy. Wow. Okay. A little bit of bulgur wheat, maybe a quarter cup, half a cup, something like that. I'm not exactly going to measure. I'm going by vibes. I'm going by heart. I'm going by feel. 1, 2 handfuls inside. Okay. It looks delicious. It still doesn't have the rest of the components. It's missing the egg. It's missing the cheese. It's missing the parsley. But it's all going to get there. Bulgur wheat goes in. Okay. Egg, garlic, parsley. All of those will be my next additions. Garlic, egg, and parsley. all of my cut up parsley. Everybody, I think today's stream is going to be really long because we still haven't even started making the soup yet, haven't we? We still got to make all the pie filling and everything. We got to do all that. We got to get to that. Okay, let's mix this stuff in. Now, I think I may opt for a bigger spoon, maybe a glove. Okay, this has the egg, this has the parsley, this has the bulgur wheat. We're almost done with the filling, everybody. And we do need to over salt this. Keep in mind, okay, most of these ingredients like the bulgur wheat and the egg are adding a lot of blandness to it because they've not been properly seasoned along the way. So, given the moisture of this, I still feel like I want to add some more bulgur wheat. We're going to add in a little bit more because if it's too wet, everybody, remember, your pie is not going to come together. Oh, hello. I almost put in the whole bag of bulgur wheat. That is not what I would have wanted to do. Almost done, everybody, with the filling. And the last step is going to be the mozzarella cheese. And it'll be perfect, and it'll be delicious. So get it inside, and mix it all up, and mix it up. Mix in that bulgur. Mix in the eggplant and the mushrooms. Get it all in there. Okay. That is a gorgeous filling for a pie. Mozzarella cheese. It's time to activate. It's time to get you into the party, my friend. Now, my mozzarella, I did not get big, beautiful shreds. I didn't get big, beautiful shreds. Why? Well, really, really simple. My mozzarella was just not cold enough. So, all of that cheese, right? All of it in. Got any tips for working with tortillas? Oh, in a second, Vexilis. I just want to get this step done. I want to get this job done. Job done. Okay. And now I think I may just switch to using my hands. I'm going to grab a glove. We're going to mix up this filling. We got to make a bunch of space. And then we'll assemble and bake the pie. So I'm going to grab a glove. And mix it all in. Look at this incredible filling, my friends. Cheese, eggplant, mushrooms, parsley, a little bit of seasoning, extra virgin olive oil. I think that looks pretty good, doesn't it? Okay. Mix it in. Oh, come on. Get back in there, Mr. Mushroom. And now, I'm going to give that a little taste, even if it has raw egg in it. I just want to taste it for seasoning. It's getting there. We're going to need some more salt for sure. Right? Because it's going to be a big, thick, dense pie. So the salt needs to be in there to compensate. And the mozzarella. Oh, this is going to be good. I'm very, very excited about this. There she is, my friends. That is my filling. That is all going to get stuffed in. So, it is time to now clean the disaster that is my kitchen. I have stuff every single which way right now. I gotta go ahead and clean it up. I gotta go ahead and put a bunch of stuff away, and we have to make some space, my friends. So, if you have any and all cooking questions, now would be an amazing time to ask. I'm gonna dump out my waste bowl. I'm gonna put away all the different ingredients I do not need. I'm gonna make a whole bunch of space for us today. Okay, because we need that space right now. We need some space. We need some space because we're gonna be assembling this beautiful pie, and she needs love and respect above all else. Whoa, hello. Okay, chill out, thank you. Let's get my lovely food processor out and away. Excellent. Probably throw this into the dishwasher. Get that set up, get that ready to go. Get this wooden spoon in here so that we can go ahead and stuff it and fill it up. Right now my countertop is mostly going to what is a ridiculous, ridiculous amount of towels. So I got to go ahead and put that away really quickly. No room for my roommate to dance? Yes, actually that was the intended goal because I was sick of it. I've had enough, I said. Okay, so gotta just take a second. Gotta put a few more things away, everybody. Again, I apologize for doing so. I have still a feeling that my pie is gonna be super wet with this amount of mozzarella cheese that I added. But honestly, if it is, everybody, guess what? It'll still be delicious at the end of the day. We'll still figure it out somehow, won't we? We always do. Okay, okay. My box of gloves, away she goes. My millions and millions of towels that I have just set up and waiting to go, they've all got to go too. We got to get our station ready, everybody. We got to get our phyllo ready. It's all going to be coming together in just a moment's time. Get my pan thrown into the sink because we no longer need it. We're making space. We're making space. We're putting things away. We're cleaning as we go, everybody. Okay, super, super, super essential. I cannot emphasize the importance of that enough. Okay? So, just making sure that all of my excess components are not in my way. Ugh. Everybody, it's about to come together. So, how do we go ahead and we get ready for my phyllo dough? Well, it's the same exact way that we did before, my friends. We need to start off with a sheet tray. We need to put it all out, and then we need to cover it with a nice damp towel. And the damp towel is going to stop the phyllo pastry from drying out too much. Keep in mind, the phyllo, if you leave it unattended for too long, it can and will dry up, and it will be disastrous. So, here's what we need. We're going to need to grab, oh no, do I have any more clean towels left over, everybody? If not, I guess we could always just use a couple of paper towels stacked on top of each other. Yeah, I think I'm out of clean towels because they're currently in the dryer as we speak. I'm gonna grab a whole bunch of paper towels and we're going to lay out my dough. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my paper towels are nice and damp. Okay, again, if you leave your phyllo pastry exposed to just the air, it can and will dry out. So, let's grab the pastry. Let's grab my phyllo dough. Let's pull it out. There she is in all of her glory. Roll it out, everybody. Roll it out. And let's go ahead and open up my paper towels. And we're just going to make sure that it stays nice and damp, my friends. Because remember, dry phyllo is a disaster. So, cover it. Just gently. I need to move fast. Guess what? This edge right here, I neglected to do the same. Oh no, are my edges stuck to each other? Well, we can only decide that in a moment's time, everybody. We need to move fast. We need to go. We need to go now. I need 2 more sheets of paper towels. This is why you should do this beforehand and really make sure that you have everything that you need, everybody. Grab it quickly. Cover it up, cover it up, cover it up. Okay. Come on, almost done. Got to figure out a way to Tetris this all together. Not that difficult with just rectangles. Noah, welcome on in. So, phyllo dough, paper towels, covering up especially the edges. The edges get super, super dry quickly. Putting that to the side. Next, what happens? Let's go ahead and get my pie plate ready. Okay? Wipe it off really quickly. Make sure that there's nothing on it. And we're going to begin, everybody, with what is an incredibly aggressive amount of extra virgin olive oil right on the bottom. Remember, this is Mediterranean cooking. We're making Italian food. This is kind of Greek inspired. You can never have too much olive oil. Take it, brush it around. Brush it around. Get it up the sides, get it spread out. Okay, let's make some space. Let's begin laying in my pastry. Okay, and now at this point, once we do start adding it in, it's okay if the edges dry out. It is only while it's on the sheet tray that we don't want the phyllo to dry out significantly. So, I'm unraveling my towels. I'm going to gently, gently get in a layer of my phyllo pastry, my friends. In she goes. Okay, on it goes. Just like so. It's okay if it has little holes. That's gonna be totally fine. And I'm gonna quickly cover up the rest of my pastry. Absolutely under no circumstances do you want your pastry to dry out. So cover it back up. Get it back covered with the towels, guys. Get it covered. Get it covered yesterday, in fact. Okay? Oh no. How did I mess up my order of towels? Where did my other towel go? Is it tucked under here? It is. Keep it covered. Keep it moist. Next, let's press in those edges. Let's press in that circle. What are we gonna do? Olive oil. In it goes. Again, this was heavily inspired by spanakopita. That was my inspiration for today. Gently, gently brush it around. This is the technique for spanakopita. We're gonna go ahead and grab another layer of fresh phyllo pastry. How many layers do I have left? I think I should have just enough to be able to finish my pie today, my friends. Grab it, get it in there, and we're going to lay it perpendicular to this guy. Get the phyllo, lay it in. How many sheets do I have left over? I have 1, I have 2, I have 3. Oh no, I think I have just not enough, actually. But we can do an open top pie. I think we should do an open top pie in that case. We just needed to really make sure. We can do 3 sheets of phyllo on the bottom. We can do 3 sheets of phyllo on the bottom and then 1 on top. I think that will be perfect. So not exactly like a spanakopita, not enough layers in fact, but it'll be perfect still. So olive oil, in it goes. Everybody brush it around. Brush it around. Okay. How many layers do I have left potentially? Oh, wait a second. Everybody, I think we're going to be just fine on my amount of phyllo pastry. I think we're going to be golden. I think this is the perfect amount that we have left over. In fact, get it in there. Lay it in perpendicularly. Evergley, welcome on in. We're building my phyllo pie. Let's go ahead and cover my pastry back up with those towels. Cover it up. Cover it up. Keep it fresh. Keep it moist. Keep it damp, everybody. I know I keep saying that over and over, but I cannot emphasize enough the importance of such a task. Olive oil. Remember, you can never have too much olive oil with this kind of cooking. It's going to help make sure that the phyllo gets nice and crispy as it bakes. 1 last layer, and then we're going to save 1 layer just to be able to drape over the top. 1 last layer going in. It's okay if it cracks. Don't worry about it. Do not sweat it, my friends. Get my pastry on. Phyllo is really fun to work with, I have to say. Okay. Olive oil. Get it all the way around. Get it around. Chef, what does my pastry dough always crack when I unroll it? Probably because it's already been too dry in the package. And it's okay, everybody. If your phyllo cracks a little bit, totally fine. No harm, no foul. Now, my eggplant, my egg, my bulgur wheat, my mushrooms, and my mozzarella cheese. Seasoned, ready to go. Pack it in. Pack it in. Let's get it into the pie now. Let's get it in, my friends. Let's get it in. Look at that. It's all coming together. It's all coming together. Dense, beautiful, perfect. Look at that pie, my friends. Look at this pie. That is the perfect amount of filling too. While we got it. Now spread it around. Make sure it's all packed in. Into the right edges where it needs to go. And guess what? We have exactly used up all of my leftover phyllo dough without wasting any of it. We're going to take these edges and we're going to fold them inside, just gently. Don't pack it in too tight, okay? You want some layers to it, right? You want some layers because that way it'll get nice and crispy as it bakes. So pack it in. Get all of those little shreds. You see these little shreds of dough? All of it is good eating. All of it is good to eat. All of it is good to eat. Get it in. Get it in. Get it in. Get it all in. Totally fine. Okay. Everybody, we're almost done. 1 last layer of phyllo dough right on top. And we're going to drape it on, right? Take it. In fact, I'm just going to cut it in half basically and just drape it on like so. Perfect. That's what we want to see. That's beautiful. Okay? Extra virgin olive oil. One last time for good measure. And spread it around. All the way around, everybody. All the way. All the way. All the way. So, hopefully this works out. It's my first time completely freestyling a pie like this. I've never done something like this before. Chat, what do you think? Do you think it's going to work out well? I want some confidence. I want a nice show of hands. But I think it'll be great. I think it'll be beautiful. And I think it'll be delicious too. Yes, chef, that's exactly what I want to see. That's exactly what I want to hear. That's my pie. That's it. So, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all the stuff that I no longer need. My towels and my Phyllo box. I'm happy to be finally rid of it because I was getting a little bored of Phyllo dough. So this will be our last experiment and our last venture into the magical world of Phyllo dough for a little while before we come back to it. Okay? The only thing that we want to do, again, this is a step that I love doing because it helps it to easily lift out of the oven. I like to always put it onto a sheet tray when we put it inside. Okay, just like so. Everybody, 400-degree oven, 40 minutes, something like that, until the top of it is nice and crispy, until the top of it is nice and golden, and we'll bake it off and we'll let it cook. The bulgur wheat is going to soak up the excess liquid. Mozzarella cheese, mushrooms, parsley, eggplant, okay, full of flavor, full of love, full of care and attention, quite frankly. Let's go ahead and get this bad boy into the oven. Please and thank you. In she goes. The olive oil is going to get it nice and crispy. 40 minutes, and then we'll check back on it. 40, 45 minutes, something like that. Ooh, that's it. That's the Phyllo pie. So, that's going. That's bacon. Everybody, I have made my kitchen into a bit of a war zone. I need to go ahead and clean it up. Let's go ahead and get rid of all the different things that we're not using. Let's get rid of some excess bowls. Let's get rid of some excess utensils. All that stuff, all of it has got to go. In the interest of keeping up a nice clean kitchen and cleaning as we go, everybody, we can now begin doing the pasta fagioli. So, quickly rinsing out this bowl, just because I want to repurpose it, because I want to use it for more stuff today. Wonderful. So, it's baking away. Hopefully it'll be crispy. I'm looking for it to be cheesy. I'm looking for it to be meaty. And I'm looking for it to be nice and delicious. We can now actually begin doing the pasta fagioli, which was supposed to be the start of the show. The stream is going to go on a little bit late, but I don't think anybody here is going to mind that. So, I have my big, beautiful Dutch oven. We'll talk about how to use it. We'll talk about how to heat it up. And the first thing that we need to begin with, everybody, is going to be to process up some of our bacon today. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that started right now. So, bacon. I wanted to include bacon in my pasta fagioli because I wanted a little bit of extra fattiness. I wanted some extra flavor. We have a bunch of vegetables, but we don't really have anything to give us any kind of meaty substance besides the beans. You don't need to include the bacon, but I am because it's going to be delicious. So, I don't want crispy bacon today. I want the bacon to give us fat so that we can cook the vegetables in said fat. We're going to do about 4 slices of bacon for this. Just like so, my friends. I'm going to get the rest of the bacon thrown into the fridge in just a moment's time. I'm going to grab my knife, okay, and I'm just going to cut nice little chunks of bacon like so. The bacon is going to significantly shrink as it cooks, so you do need to keep that in mind. But this is going to contribute to a lot of flavor and a lot of nice, delicious, welcome fat inside of our soup today, my friends. That's it. Super simple process, super simple, super easy. I probably let it sit out for a little bit too long at room temperature, but that's okay. The fat is slightly melting around the edges. And I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of it thrown back into the fridge. Wash up my hands. Okay. So, everybody, let's talk about how to cook this bacon. We don't need a lot of browning on it, but what we do want to do is we want to get all of that delicious bacon fat. We're going to be doing a combination of bacon fat and olive oil in my pasta fagioli because we want some olive oil to initially help out with the lubrication. Without it, the bacon is easily going to stick and burn. So, always on a Dutch oven, never high heat. High heat will give you hot spots and cool spots for the food to stick to. Medium, medium low, only, my friends. Come on. Why are you being so stubborn today? Thank you. Medium, medium low. And we're going to get a little bit of olive oil inside. We don't need too much though, because we're going to get a lot of extra fat from our beautiful bacon. If you want crispy bacon, we do thin cut. Because I do not want crispy bacon, it's gonna go all into the stew. I want nice thick cut bacon, my friends. Thin bacon crisps up a lot better. Thick cut is not necessarily better or worse. They just have different purposes for different use cases. So, bacon into the fridge. We don't need it anymore. Good riddance. Goodbye. We are now officially done with you. Medium, medium low heat. We're going to heat up this extra virgin olive oil. The goal is to slowly cook the bacon so that we're able to do what's called rendering. We're going to render out the fat of the bacon and we're going to cook the vegetables inside of it. Fat is as much of an ingredient as your other components are. So if we have already a naturally fatty ingredient like pancetta, like bacon, like guanciale, like sausage, let's do that in combination with another fat instead of just using that other fat, my friends. Let's embrace the fat that we have available to us. Okay, fat is an ingredient as much as everything else is. And I'm so tired of people only considering it for its function to lubricate. Okay? So, we've been doing a lot of talking. Finally, things are able to slow down just a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and have a little sip of water. Just because we have a second of time, now would be a good time to do so. Checking on my pie. It's just bacon, not doing anything crazy, not doing anything special. Oh. Right, wonderful. Everything's all coming along. So, what's the order of operations for cooking the bacon and for cooking the pasta fagioli? So, really simple. We begin by frying the bacon and rendering its fat. We remove said bacon. We add in my chopped up vegetables, my carrots, my onions, my celery. We let that cook down a little bit. Next, we're going to add in some water. Really simple, really easy. We're going to add in half of a can of crushed tomatoes. We're not going to do too many tomatoes so they don't completely overpower everything else. And then as the vegetables soften, we're going to soak our pasta. We're going to get our parsley garnish ready for the pasta fagioli. And then everything's just gonna cook and boil together. This is a really simple soup. This is the epitome of home cooking. If you have extra chicken stock, vegetable stock, beef stock, this would be an amazing time to use it, okay? But this is just supposed to be simple, simple food. Don't go crazy, don't overcomplicate it. But also feel free to experiment. If you have other kinds of vegetables that you wanna throw it in. It's a bean and pasta soup. Okay, there is no super traditional way to do it. Everybody does it a little bit differently. Every family does it differently, right? You can do tomatoes. You can completely omit the tomatoes. It is entirely up to you and your own preferences. So, bacon. Gonna go ahead and add this bad boy inside. Right? It's sizzling a little bit too hot. Low, medium heat, everybody. Low, medium heat. Add it on in. We want to cook this bacon slowly. If your heat is too high, okay, you will end up scorching and burning your bacon and burning all of the bits that are stuck at the bottom before it actually cooks up in time. So, giving my hands a little wash. And let's just go ahead and go in and just begin mixing up the bacon. Just get it in there. Whoa, hello. Get it in there, my friends, and make sure that the bacon is not stuck to the sides of the pan or anything. Get it in there, get it distributed, get it doing its own thing, and get that bacon cooking. Cooking down slowly. We're going to get all of its beautiful bacon fat out. If your heat is too high, you will absolutely scorch your bacon before that is the case. Will it be spicy? Not at all today, Vexilist. There is no chilies, there is no nothing in any of this. You could, if you wanted to. You could absolutely make a spicy pasta fagioli. You could do red pepper flakes. You could do any kind of red chilies. I wouldn't do a green chili. I wouldn't do like a serrano or jalapeno because it might make it taste too vegetal in a way, as green chilies are quite notorious for doing, I think. So as long as you're staying away from something like that, I think just about anything else will be perfect. So we don't need to cook this for too long, everybody. We don't need too much color on this bacon. Remember, I don't want crispy chunks of bacon. I want soft chunks of bacon inside of my soup. Okay, and more importantly, I just want to be able to get all that lovely bacon fat out. And that's it. Nice and simple. Nice and easy. I'm sniffling a lot because there's just a lot of cooking going on. Okay, everybody, as things are slowing down, an amazing time to ask me any and all cooking questions if you got them. Right? You can ask me about whys. It can be about this dish. It can be about something else. It can be just about anything. The phyllo pie is baking away. It's getting lovely. It's getting beautiful inside of there. And in the meantime, you know what thing that we can do? We're going to clean. I have a bunch of dishes that have, happened as a result of cooking. The best time to clean them is going to be now. What dish would you make for Gengar chef? I don't know what Gengar eats. I don't know what goes into a nice balanced Gengar diet. I'm not a Pokemon nutritionist, so I don't think I would be able to actually be the best source in this case. Everybody, the smell of bacon and olive oil together, don't be afraid to mix and blend fats, right? Olive oil and bacon fat and butter or something, it's all gonna be delicious together, okay? So, while this is slowly going, especially because we're gonna be stepping away, low heat, everybody. Let it slowly cook, let it slowly render. I'm gonna just wash up a few dishes. We got the time, we got the energy. Best time to do it is yesterday, my friends. Let's do it all now. That is what it means to cook at home. It is knowing when to clean and when not to clean. So, get cleaning. Get it done, my friends. Okay. Beautiful. And I'll go ahead and take chat with me, so I'll be able to interact with you guys even while my back is turned to you and I'm cleaning dishes. Don't worry, I'll be keeping up with every single one of you every step of the way. Gengar drains the life force of its victims. It may eat its victims' dreams. Like its pre-evolution haunter, it may lick its prey to drain the life force. I see. Okay, well, I don't really know if I could possibly offer somebody else other than myself. I think that would be me killing somebody. So, I guess I will have to unfortunately feed myself to Gengar. It's a much needed sacrifice. Always with ghost Pokemon and souls. They gotta get original. Have they thought about like a steak? Something normal? You gotta get it together, dude. Washing up my pan. Getting rid of all the stuff that we don't need anymore, my friends. Get them out of here. Get them out of sight. Get them out of mind. Right? This is called passive time. When you're not actively doing something, take the time to clean. Don't sit down. Don't stop your momentum. Clean up those dishes. I can't believe that you convinced me to use a food processor. That was like half a block of mozzarella. That was the worst suggestion Chad has ever given me. I'm sorry. That was a bad idea. I can't believe I listened to you guys. No, I'm kidding. You guys give me excellent ideas. I was the one that decided. Yes, you're right. I was the one that ultimately decided to go through the path of, making the most amount of dishes. That's kind of my fault. That's on me. I did this to me. And I know it. I was just deflecting. Shifting the blame, if you will. Getting all my food processor equipment washed up out of here as well. And let's go back to the bacon, everybody. Let's make sure it's not burning. Right? Just give it a little stir. Give it a little stir. Give it a little stir. All of that beautiful bacon fat is coming out of it slowly but surely. Make sure none of it is stuck to the sides. We don't need a lot of browning. I don't want crispy bacon. I just want a lot of its fat gone. But we're not going to cook it to the point that it is so crunchy, because it's also going to get really dry that way. We want our bacon to retain some moisture. Okay, everybody? So, I think I'm going to go ahead and pull out the bacon in just about a second. In just a second or so, quickly go ahead and finish up what I'm doing right now. And get it all cleaned up. Get it all out of here. Okay. So, let's go ahead and stop for a second. Foxy Princess, welcome on in. I think Moobot just gave us a command, so it won't be able to throw in another one. We're making a little phyllo mozzarella cheese pie with mushrooms inside of it and eggplant, and we're also doing a pasta fagioli, right? Fagioli, not fagioli. So, I'm gonna say right now, everybody, we have gotten a beautiful amount of bacon fat out of there. So let's go ahead and extract this bacon. Let's get him out of here. Let's save him. Get him thrown onto my plate. Again, we don't want to cook this to death. If we cook this to death and we cook this to oblivion, we're going to get dry bits of bacon inside of the soup, which is not ideal. We just wanted the bacon fat so that we can now do the magical part, my friends, which is to cook the vegetables and all of that gorgeous bacon fat. So scraping it out, getting it out of here. Come on, buddy. Out you go. Thank you. Thank you. And a couple more little pieces that I've neglected. Everybody, no high heat so that we don't develop too much fond on the bottom. Otherwise, everything in the pot would burn. And now we can go on to a medium, medium-low. And we're going to get a little bit of color on our nice little vegetables before it all cooks and it all cooks down. So, all of that gorgeous fat. That's all that we want. Excellent. That's how I like the bacon. Right? Not crispy, just still got some juiciness to it. What do I think of spaghetti, chef? I mean, I like spaghetti. I think it can be a little bit annoying and troublesome and messy to eat because it kind of like splashes around. So it's not necessarily my favorite pasta shape for that reason. Okay. Guys, that bacon is delicious. Really, seriously, do not get it too crispy. I'm going to say that again and again, but it's so important. Bacon fat, nice and hot. In goes my sofrito, my carrots, my onions, and my celery. All of it in, baby. Get it all inside. This is the base of my pasta fagioli soup. This is what's going to give our broth a little bit more aromatic, a bit more of an aromatic quality to it. It's going to give it that real Italian feel, right? Carrots, onions, and celery. You see it represented all over Western European cooking. So get it in. Quickly scrape down those sides. Move some stuff around. And we're going to go ahead and begin seasoning this with a whole bunch of salt. We're going to soak the pasta. We'll talk about why we're soaking the pasta in just a second. So I'm going to begin running some hot water from my tap because it takes a second to build up. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Salt goes in. Why? We both want to season the vegetables and we want to help to facilitate pulling out some of the liquid in one shot. Salt goes in. Salt goes in. Salt goes in. Aggressive amount of salt, everybody. Aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. Scrape it up. Scrape up all of the fond on the bottom that came out of the bacon. Scrape it up. Move it around. Scrape it up. Move it around. Vixen, do you want a piece of bacon? You want some bacon? Have some bacon. It's not crispy because it's all going to be going into the stew. We just wanted to get the fat out of it. I like bacon. I have no idea what you're doing or saying right now because you're being quiet. So, get it all incorporated. Get it moved around. Medium, medium, low. And let it cook, my friends. So, I know, we got to go back to that in a second. I've left the... Vixen, please don't micromanage me when I'm cooking. I'm doing this for a reason. We needed to get hot water out of our tap. Our tap does not immediately give us hot water. So, we're going to go ahead and soak the pasta. I'm going to get some nice hot water from my tap. And I like to do this instead of pre-boiling the pasta. Instead of going ahead and getting another pot separately and entirely, I'm going to go ahead and fill up my bowl. I'm going to fill it up with some nice hot water right out of my tap, my friends. And this is going to help to soak and hydrate the pasta so that it doesn't completely release all of its starch inside of the soup itself. By giving it this pre-soak, it is essentially like giving it a pre-boil. I don't want to completely cook the pasta in it because, again, it would make it really, really thick and really, really starchy. So, hot water, pasta, adding it in. Okay. I have no idea how much pasta I'm going to be using. Almost half the box, something like that. Get it in there, and then everybody, to stop the pasta from sticking as it soaks, you need to go ahead and give it a few mixes as it goes and it does its thing. Okay? So it's inside, it's going. My vegetables, they're releasing their liquid. They're beginning to get a little bit of color on them. They're beginning to saute, my friends. They're gonna get nice and delicious as they're cooking down in all of that beautiful bacon fat. Excellent. And we don't need too much color on it. Again, pasta fagioli, it's supposed to be a little bit lighter. It's not really supposed to be super, super heavy. It's not supposed to be super dense or anything. Oh my God, my Instagram was spammed with notifications. Okay, so again, every so often, you're just gonna go ahead and stir the pasta. And this is a technique that I especially love for baked pastas. Instead of going ahead and giving everything a pre-boil, it uses up extra dishes. You have to go ahead and mess with all of that, everybody. This is just a bowl that we already had, a bowl that we're already using, and it also gives us time to season the pasta, right? The pasta itself, super, super bland. It needs to be heavily, heavily seasoned so that it does not lose all of its flavor inside of the soup itself. Everybody, trust me, you have to get on this method. It is so much easier than just boiling it in advance. So much easier. So, does anybody have any questions for me in the meantime? Pasta is soaking, pasta is going, vegetables are slowly sauteing. They're doing their thing, everybody. They're gonna get nice and delicious. My pie is in the oven. I'm gonna check on that bad boy. The top of it is getting beautiful and golden and crispy as we speak. The inside, the filling is delicious. We've done a lot of the heavy legwork at this point in time. I'm gonna start getting rid of a few of other components that we no longer need today, my friends. Like my bench scraper, away she goes. If bao was less sweet, yes. So Serena, so this was a very controversial take on food that I had online recently, which is I said that I don't love bao. It's not just about the sweetness of it that's the problem. It is the fact that it's so dense. I love the dense, chewy bread. I love the dense, chewy bun. But the issue is, in the context of other things, it really overtakes it, and it doesn't feel like it balances particularly well. And so, as a result, I don't love bao. Bao is honestly not my thing. I've never had a bao that was good enough to change my mind. I love the flavors. I love the roast pork baos and everything, right? I mean, I really, really do. But it is so dense that I've never felt like it was a good vessel. I never felt like it was a good medium to actually hold all of those fillings inside of it. The reason why I love a taco so much is because the tortilla itself is not as, offensive in a way. It's not as assuming. It doesn't take up as much space in your mouth, right? Oh, everybody, the vegetables, we're getting a little bit of color on them. Again, nothing too crazy. We don't have to go overboard with this. Wonderful. So, I'm gonna go ahead and begin to open up my can of tomatoes as well while we're at it. Yeah, thank you for, I'm glad that we understand. I'm glad that you guys get the idea. The sweetness of the bao mutes the salt and umaminess of it, absolutely. I just find that it never has the balance that I'm really looking for. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get my can of tomatoes opened up as well while we're at it. Grab my can opener, wherever it may be. Hello, can opener, found you. And so everybody, really important. So many people, myself included, have historically used up entire cans of tomatoes in soups purely to use it instead of saving it as a leftover. That is one of the biggest mistakes that you can make because you can easily have a soup that is dominated with tomatoes. So less is more with something like this. Less is more. We are absolutely not using the whole can. Super, super important. Super essential. Okay? Just getting that ready for later on, for whenever we feel inclined to use this bad boy. And these are fire roasted tomatoes so that they go ahead and they add in a little bit of extra smokiness. My iPad has gone into low battery mode, so I can't actually see the chat right now, everybody. I gotta go ahead and fix that up in just a second. So please forgive me. I'm not gonna be able to see what you say for just a moment. I should have probably charged my iPad a little bit longer, but that's totally on me. Okay. Wonderful. So, it's going. It's doing its own thing, everybody. It's getting nice and golden. It's getting nice and sauteed at this stage. It's getting nice and delicious. My phyllo pie is baking up beautifully as well at the same time. Okay. Wonderful. So, what needs to happen now? We're going to go ahead and hello? We're gonna get a bunch of black pepper inside, everybody. And we're going to toast and fry said black pepper. Get it in there, grind it up. Grind it up, grind it up, grind it up, grind it up. Excellent. And we're going to go in there with our garlic, my friends. We're going to go ahead and properly fry the garlic, get it a little bit toasted, get it infused into everything else that we have going on at the moment. Get it inside. Get it inside. Get it frying, everybody. Get it going. Beautiful. So, when we add the garlic, we don't want it to burn, so you gotta stir it up constantly. Stir it constantly, keep it moving, keep it doing its thing. Lovely. Garlic, black pepper, onions, carrots, celery, just a bunch of basics, all of it cooking in bacon fat. And now in goes, I have no idea how many tomatoes I'm gonna be using today. Maybe like a third of this can, maybe close to half of this can. I'm not exactly measuring, but everybody, we wanna preserve some of the fresh taste of the tomatoes. Okay, we're deglazing the pan essentially, so to speak. We're adding in something wet. We're able to now dissolve all of the proteiny bits that came out of the bacon, but we do not want it to overtake the soup completely. So, just a little bit of bacon, really, really important. And now, let's go ahead and add in some water. I gotta stir up my pasta, make sure that my ditalini is not sticking to itself or anything. Let's go in with a bunch of water. It is a soup after all. We do need some water. Everybody, if you have chicken stock, feel free to use chicken stock. Feel free to use beef stock. Feel free to use vegetable stock. Use whatever it is that you actually have on hand. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing here. I'm using water because, hey, I don't have any chicken stock. I might even do some powdered chicken bouillon if I'm feeling like it. But really, this is supposed to be a simple soup. It's supposed to be about the beans, okay? It's not supposed to be too fancy. It's not supposed to be too complicated. So, a bunch of water goes in. And move it around. Let's get all of that tomato sauce, all that crushed roasted tomatoes distributed inside. More garlic. Oh, I don't want to take out my garlic press again. I think that we have plenty of garlic inside of here at the moment, my friends. So, all that water gets added in. And now, only thing we want to do, we want to boil the hell out of my vegetables. I want to get them soft, I want to get them tender, and I want to get them delicious. I do not want crunchy, raw vegetables. So medium high at this point. We want to go ahead and get that going. Get it going, get it happening, doing its own thing. Okay, next, I think I want some oregano inside of this, and I want the oregano to be able to infuse as it cooks, because that always just gives anything a bit more of an Italian vibe, doesn't it? It gives anything and everything more of an Italian feel. So, I'm gonna take a bunch of this dried oregano that I have right here, and I'm just going to roll it in between my hands to get rid of the stems. Whoop, hello. Roll it between my hands, roll it up, and I see that we only had this one big stem that I neglected to take out. Out she goes. That was an instant ramen ceramic, that's right. That it was. You got a good eye. My pasta is soaking up in the salted water. Right, so all we gotta do now, my friends, we can just put some stuff away. Put away my can opener, probably put away my dried oregano. That sort of thing, get it all mixed in. And we're going to need a bunch of salt, everybody. Remember, this is a big pot of mostly water at this stage. We need a lot of salt to be able to compensate for that. And I've run out of salt in my little container, so I gotta give it a good old refill session. It's gonna need plenty of salt, everybody. This is gonna be a big pot of soup. It's gonna be soup time. Salt goes in. Let's get it nice and seasoned. And that's it. Really simple stuff. Boiling away, cooking away. Let's go ahead and get those vegetables tender, my friends. Let's just bring it up to a boil and let's keep it boiling. That's all that we got to do right now. Not too much tomato. We don't want to have any of the viscosity from the tomato. And yeah, so what are we going to do in the meantime? We're going to clean, of course. That's what we can always do, everybody. When we're done with something, when we're done with a component, let's clean. Let's get it out of here. Right? Let's get it all processed and put away. And I'm going to check on my phyllo pie inside of the oven. It looks beautiful. It looks golden brown. It looks crispy. Okay, so that's going, that's happening. Let's just keep on cleaning. We have nothing pressing to do at the moment. All of our ingredients are inside. After this cooks up a little bit and the vegetables get a little bit soft, we're gonna add in the pasta. We're gonna let the pasta cook. The beans are gonna be the last addition because I don't want the soup to get too thick from the beans. Yeah, nice and simple. Everybody, I am really, really excited about how this phyllo pie is gonna come out. The pastry on top looks golden. It looks nice and crispy. It looks really, really delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and get my can of tomatoes put away. Once again, if anybody has any questions, now would be an amazing time to ask. I yap so fast, thank you. It's kind of what I do for everything I do. I'm an esports commentator, I'm a cooking streamer, and I'm a cooking teacher. So, yapping fast is part of my job description on just about everything. Hopefully none of these lids will fall on me. Thank you very much. And get these tomatoes put away as well while we're at it. And these are fire roasted tomatoes. Again, you can do any kind of crushed tomatoes that your heart desires. I'm using these because this was a can of something that we already had at home, and I wanted to use up all of my existing leftovers. I'm gonna quickly rinse off the can and get all that stuff just thrown inside of the pot, inside of my pot of soup. Well, you are the top yapper. I'm digging it. Thank you, Samsung Pony. I appreciate it. I try my best. So that's done. I'm going to put away the rest of the can, throw that into my fridge for safekeeping for the time being. But yeah, everybody, we've done the majority of the legwork. We've done almost all of the difficult stuff. Now we're just chilling a little bit. We're chilling. We're hanging out. I'm going to put away my tomatoes. Gonna put away my pasta. I'm gonna clean my knives while I'm at it, maybe even clean up my cutting board. A lot of stuff that we can keep doing. This is what's called making the most out of your passive time. Okay, that's done. That's put away. I don't think I need any more ditalini for today. That'll be just the right amount. That'll be perfect for my intentions at least. And it's still not at a boil yet. We could probably just slap a lid onto it and allow it to heat up that way. It'll be perfect. Recategorize stream to just chatting. That's right. I could do that too, you know. Oh, I'm checking back on the pie. Everybody, you're going to be very impressed with how it came out. Hopefully the inside of it is not too wet, but given the amount of bulgur wheat, I think we did just fine. So, let's wash our stuff. Let's wash our equipment. Let's get it out of here. Let's wash up all the different things that we no longer have an immediate use for. Because that's what it means to cook at home, of course. Wash up my knives, wash up my equipment. It'll make my workload after the stream also significantly less, make my life a little bit easier. All I'm doing is, everybody, I'm getting this up to a nice aggressive boil, and we're gonna keep it boiling. We're gonna keep it boiling so all of my vegetables get nice and soft. Wash up my knives. Hey everyone, how's the cooking? Well, welcome on in. We are doing amazing. At the moment, my soup is coming up to a boil. My phyllo pie is in the oven. The soup is yet to receive the pasta and the beans. Right now, we're just softening up my vegetables and we're making the broth all in one fell swoop. So it's currently coming up to a boil. It's got tomatoes, it's got carrots, onions, and celery. It's got some dried oregano and it's got some garlic. Really, really simple flavors this time around, everybody. No need to overcomplicate it. And it's all cooking up in a little bit of bacon fat too. Simple flavors, but simple flavors can be delicious flavors. You don't necessarily always want everything to be like super, super highly seasoned 1,000,000% of the time. You know, sometimes you want food that's just makes you feel good to eat. And for me, something like a pasta fagioli, that is simple food at its best. Washing up my knives, getting them all cleaned up, and then we'll go into the pot and show off my lovely vegetables as they boil and toil and get soft and cooked. Just washing up all of my equipment, making my job later on much easier. So, I should guess that we're boiling. Not yet. Wow, that is a big cauldron of soup, and yet we're still not boiling. That is crazy. All right, keep it going. Keep it going, keep it boiling, my friends. Get it to a rolling boil, because I just want to get my vegetables cooked as fast as possible at this moment in time. I'm gonna probably wash off my cutting blade as well. We got a little bit of time to do that. I'll dry off my knives so that they don't rust or damage the handles or nothing. Pie in the oven. Ooh, everybody, it looks crispy, it looks golden, it looks delicious, and you're going to love how it comes out. 10 more minutes. If it lasts that long. I don't know if it will. We'll see. If the top of it gets too golden, if the top of it gets too brown, we might pull it out a little bit sooner. We can always be flexible, especially with phyllo dough. Phyllo dough is so easy to use in that way. So just wiping off my stuff, wiping off my equipment. Everything's coming along exactly the way that it needs to. And I think I did a really good job today repurposing as many dishes as possible. Instead of just, throwing out a lot of bowls. I had a half full dishwasher, and I don't even think I'm going to fully fill up my dishwasher by the end of the show today. That's how nice of a job I think we did. That is always something I'm trying to get better at, everybody. I'm trying to get better at using as few dishes as possible in the kitchen. So, are you boiling yet? Not even slightly bubbling. Can't believe this guy. I am sick of him. Not even boiling. My vegetables are not even softening. I cannot believe the audacity. I should have started with the soup sooner, but life happens, doesn't it? Life happens sometimes. Wipe off my surfaces, wipe off my countertops, and everything. That's all. We're chilling. We're hanging out in the meantime. Probably don't even need my waste bowl for anything else at this stage either. Probably can put that away. Get that gone. Get that guy out of here. Cleaning as we're going. Everybody, oh, the phyllo pie is just about ready to come out. A few more minutes, and then you will see and revel in his majesty. Actually, I think we'll be ready to pull it out right now. And it needs a little bit of time to cool down, so everything is working out perfectly and according to plan. My pasta is soaking, and again, this is a method that I love. I love, 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 love this method for stews and soups instead of having to separately boil it. And you don't want to boil it all together because it can make it too starchy and too thick. So people traditionally boiled it separately, but now we've advanced, we've modernized in our methods. Everybody, it is time for the reveal of my incredible, beautiful pie. And of course, it's going to need to sit. It's going to need to cool off a little bit. It's going to be super, super hot, and give it a little bit of time just to be able to really properly set. Let's go ahead and take this bad boy out. The top pastry is golden. It's crispy. It's looking gorgeous, my friends. It looks absolutely beautiful. Let me show you the majesty of my amazing phyllo pie. There she is. And let it cool off slowly. Keep it on something like on top of the oven. You do not want to put this on a cold surface. Okay? Put it on a cold surface and you are going to be left with a pie pan that might, quite frankly, explode. So let it rest. Let it sit. Let it chill out a little bit, okay? That is my lovely phyllo pie. That looks beautiful. I'm very happy about that. It is exquisite, isn't it? And we were able to use up all of my leftover phyllo dough. Everybody, my veggies are boiling. My soup is boiling. It's doing exactly what it needs to do. It's cooking along. We can go ahead and give it a bit of a taste for salinity, but now the goal is just to really let this boil down and reduce until my veggies are nice and soft. That could take 20 minutes, that could take 30 minutes. I might need to boil it additionally after the stream. We'll see. So, right now, all I care about is tasting the broth. Simple. No meat inside of it. We could do a spoon of chicken bouillon. Right? Let's do a spoon of chicken bouillon just to give it a little bit of extra depth of flavor. Again, totally optional if you want to abstain from doing so. Just because my flavors are really simple, maybe I didn't want it to be exactly that simple or anything. Cook it down. Gorgeous. It's all coming together, everybody. Carrot's still got a bit of a bite to it. Honestly, my veggies are coming along faster than I anticipated. They all have a little bit of a bite to them. But honestly, a few more minutes of boiling, then we can probably do the pasta. The beans are going to be the last addition. And it'll all be perfect. I'm very excited about it. Just tried some of my bacon. Bacon is bacon. Bacon is lovely. Oh, yeah, that pastry on top, beautiful and crispy. Exactly what we needed it to do for us. Excellent. I'm more than happy about that. I think I messed up with the layer of it. I should have draped the pastry first and then did the edges, because I just kind of have like a sheet of dough right on top, and that's not exactly what I was going for. I kind of messed up on that step a little bit. Boil it. Boil it and cook it, guys. Let's get some more salt. Let's get some more pepper in there. It's gonna need it, especially once we add in all that pasta. Salt, pepper. And keep it boiling. Keep it boiling. Get those vegetables softening. Lovely, wonderful. All that we have left to do, pasta, bacon, beans, that's it. Oh yeah, much more seasoned now. Egg wash on phyllo, is that more of a pastry dough gimmick? You don't need egg wash on phyllo because it naturally gets very golden by itself, Turina. It gets golden by itself with just the presence of a little bit of oil. So normally you would do egg wash to be able to give something that really nice brown color, but with phyllo dough, it just does it by itself. Oh yeah. If you didn't want beans, is there a solid replacement for them, or would it be better to not add a substitute? Well, Rideeps, this is pasta e fagioli. This is a bean dish. At the end of the day, this is beans with pasta. It's pasta and beans. If you wanted a substitute and does something similar, I would do either green or brown lentils or black lentils. Okay, and then that would be similar enough to beans in concept, but then it would also just become a lentil soup. Beans are in the name of the dish. I would really recommend just going ahead with the beans. Rideeps, why do you want to substitute the beans, is my question. If you're comfortable answering, of course. Yeah, carrot, celery, still need a little bit more time. But that's okay. That's all right. That happens still. It's all happening. It's all coming together. I'm really excited about being able to bite into some of my pie today, I have to say. I'm not a bean liker. I always try to find a substitute if I can. I've grown up eating this kind of soup and I was wondering if there was a considerable one to replace it with. So Deeps, my question is, are there any kinds of beans that you find yourself enjoying? Because a pasta e fagioli, they could be done with theoretically any kind of bean, and I feel like that would be true to the soul of a dish. Again, all this is just a pasta soup. If you did it without beans, it would just be a pasta soup, right? That would be fine too. If you did it with lentils, then it would become a lentil and pasta soup. So there's nothing that will be exactly functioning the same way that a bean will, but you could still make things that are plenty delicious, I think. So, hominy? Well, now we're getting into like pozole territory, so yeah, I think hominy would be a great addition alongside like some dried chilies and stuff. Yeah. Everything's getting all together, everybody. Super, super simple stuff. I'm going to now strain my pasta. I'm gonna strain my pasta out. It's been soaking in that liquid. It's not fully cooked, but the pasta, all that it did was it absorbed a lot of that moisture, and we got rid of a lot of the excess starch that would have resulted in us getting a gloopy soup. So giving it that pre-soak heavily, heavily prevents that reality from taking place. Right, no gloopy soups to be found here. All of my soaked up pasta, it can now just go in, my friends. In it goes. In it goes into the soup, where it's going to have its final softening. Get it all in. Get it all inside. Lovely. And it's yelling at us. That's telling us that, well, that's how long the phyllo should have taken, but it took up a little bit less time than that. Gloopy soup, it's not going to be gloopy. It's not going to be a gloopy soup. We're doing everything that we can in our power to avoid having a gloopy soup. We do not want the gloopy soup. Also, Taza, welcome on in. I hope you're having an excellent day today. My pasta's inside. Now that I'm looking at it in retrospect, I kind of wish I doubled up on this amount of pasta, but that's okay. Again, something like this, supposed to be simple food. You're not supposed to overcomplicate it. It's not supposed to have crazy flavors. You can if you want to, but this is just supposed to be simple, easy home cooking, my friends, yeah? Just simple, comforting food, above all else. That's all that we're really going for at the moment. So let's get that pasta cooked. Let's get that pasta nice and soft. We're going to be adding the beans just at the end, okay? So it doesn't get too mushy. Probably a little bit more salt, and now would actually be a good time for us to throw in the bacon as well. Let's get that bacon hydrated again. Let's get it in there. Let's get it all warmed up. Okay, it's not gonna be crispy chunks of bacon, it's just gonna be these nice little chewy bits of pork belly, and that's exactly what I wanted. It's gonna retain some of its moisture because we didn't cook it down to death. So get that bacon inside. Gorgeous, stir it in. The pasta's in. Oop, I should have scraped up the bottom. Some of the pasta stuck to the bottom of the pot. That's okay, scraping it up now. Getting it all in, my friends. And all of this, using up my leftovers. I'm gonna use up all of my leftover beans in one fell swoop. Get in there and scrape up that bottom, my friends. Scrape it up. Make sure that none of that pasta is sticking to the bottom of this pot. And scrape up the sides, all of the reduced broth and whatnot. Get it all back in there. And this only needs a couple of minutes to cook for just the pasta to soften up enough. We can go in there and taste it. Yep, it's getting there, everybody. Probably a little bit more salt, especially with the addition of the beans. The beans are almost entirely unseasoned as well, so they'll need a lot more salt. Jay Salvin, welcome on in. Hope you're having an amazing day today. Taste that again. Oh yeah. Really, really simple stuff. Okay. I think we can do the beans in just a second. Just gonna give that pasta one more second to hydrate fully. Probably could have doubled up on the amount of pasta I used, but I didn't want that big of a pot of soup after all. I wanted something light. I feel like I oftentimes make soups that are super, super dense and creamy and rich and thick. And honestly, everybody, not all soups have to be that way. They can just be light. They can be clean. They can be simple. That's what soups always were historically. You know what's crazy? That amount of salt and pepper that we added, we're still just gonna need more. We're gonna need a lot more. Get it in there. Get it ground up. Get some more salt in. Lovely. Beautiful. Okay? Taste that again. Keep tasting it till it comes out the way that you like it. All right, everybody. Last but not least, it's time to put the fagioli into the pasta fagioli. I'm unfamiliar with this kind of food because people make similar stuff traditionally, but they can't cook and I don't like it. But what you're making looks actually good. Well, I'm happy that I could help out. So what kind of stuff do people, if you could put a word to it, Vexillus? I'm curious about what specifically you're trying to describe here. My pasta should be just about cooked at this stage, right? You can see it swelling up nice and big. Perfect. Just gonna move it around one more time, make sure none of it is stuck to the bottom of the pot. Some of it is in a couple of clumps. That's totally okay, just move it around for a second. Move it around. Taste it again just to be sure. One more time, I just want to triple check that my pasta is cooked. Still got a little bit of chew to it, that's perfect. In goes all of my beans, liquid and all, my friends. And now it becomes pasta fagioli and not just pasta soup. In goes all of my beans, all of my leftover beans. In she goes, and we do not want to cook the beans into oblivion. We don't want mush. We want properly cooked beans. We want them to be soft and we want them to be seasoned. So we need more salt. We need more salt. Those beans are bland, my friends. They're bland, bland, bland. Get them in. Mix it around. Mix it around. Look at that. That is what a pasta fagioli looks like. And honestly, that's kind of it. We just want to heat the beans back through. Again, they were fully cooked when we added them into the soup. I want the beans to just heat through and make sure that the salt is able to have some amount of penetration there. Give that a taste. Delicious, everybody. Very yummy, very tasty, very comforting, very hearty. Oh yeah. Is ditalini the most common pasta for this dish, or is it up to preference? It is the most common, but guess what? It's also pasta. Pasta is pasta at the end of the day. That is entirely up to you and how you want to be able to do it, my friend. Pasta is pasta. So they're all equally substitutable with one another, but yeah, traditionally you would just use a short pasta. I just wouldn't use a pastina because then that could really just turn into a starchy paste. Okay, everybody, I'm tasting the bacon. I'm tasting the beans in there. The beans have heated through at this point. We're gonna leave them in there just to absorb some of that salty broth. Ditalini, D-I-T-A-L-I-N-I. Tuna. Well, also kind of typed it out. The soup is done. Carrots, onions, celery, garlic, bacon, water, a little bit of chicken bouillon powder, some tomatoes. My white beans that were perfectly cooked, dried oregano, black pepper, salt. Really simple stuff, really simple cooking, nothing crazy. Okay, so taste that broth one more time. Because again, it's going to change. We added in the bland beans. It all changes. You saw how much salt we cooked with? Perfect. Delicious, in fact. That is a comforting pot of soup. That is a soup that you can eat a lot of. So, let's put it away. Let's have that just sit there with the lid on for a little bit longer. And everybody, I want us all to process the pie together. We're gonna cut off a nice, lovely slice out of it. We're gonna see how it came out. Is everybody excited? I wanna hear one more yes, chef from everybody watching, please. And thank you. It's time for us to cut ourselves a slice of pie. So, over here we go. Now, I do wish I had like a pie cutter. That would have been ideal, but whatever. I'm gonna grab one more coaster just so that my table doesn't react too heavily. Because with stainless steel tables, they can like bend and buckle when you add something hot. So I'm going to add like this big coaster to keep it intact. So hopefully the bottom of it isn't soggy. Hopefully the bottom of it is nice and crispy, my friends. That's really what I'm looking for. If I go ahead and I open it up, the question is, what do I see? I don't think it's soggy. I think it's quite crispy in there. I'm looking at all those layers, but we'll find out once we do cut into it. Okay. Is it still hot? It's still quite hot. So we're gonna leave it on the metal tray. Really, really important, okay? Okay, now, once again, ideally, I would be using that, but I don't have one of those, so I think I'm just gonna have to use a knife and call it there. Okay, pastry, pie, let's go in. It's nice and soft on the inside. Maybe the bottom of it is a little soggy. We'll find out in just a moment's time. That's one cut. And let's cut ourselves a nice triangle if we can. I think the inside might be a little bit too wet. I think we needed more bulgur wheat to compensate for that, or to drain out more liquid from the eggplant. That definitely looks juicy inside. That's not what I particularly was going for, but hey, everybody, food happens. So, hopefully, it'll still be delicious by the end of it. And I think that we have indeed gotten a delicious slice of this phyllo pie that we made together. Now, did I neglect to take a plate for it? Yeah, is that a problem? It's kind of annoying. Let me see, can I get a plate, please? Let me get a plate. Okay, there she is. My pie has come out. It's full of eggplant, it's full of mushrooms. Don't neglect to take a picture. Oh, I won't. Believe me, I will not. So, a little bit wetter than I intended, but that's okay. That happens. Next time, my adjustment should have just been to use more bulgur wheat to soak it up. But everybody, I think that's quite delicious. I'm quite happy with that. Is my sheet tray hot? I don't believe so. I'm excited to get a bite out of that. And let's go ahead and get a nice ladle of soup, my friends. We're gonna get some soup. We're gonna go ahead and enjoy our lovely meal. Oh, that's not my bowls. Come on. Thank you. Here's all my bowls. Let's grab my ladle, which I actually don't know where it went. That's okay. We're gonna use this ladle instead, I suppose. Let's go ahead and get some soup. It's soup time, everybody. It is officially, finally soup time. The moment we've all been waiting for. This was a long stream. This was a long time coming. We finally have our pasta fagioli. Ready to go, ready to be eaten, ready to be devoured. Gonna go ahead and plate that bad boy up. Get it all into the bowl. Ladle in all of that lovely broth, of course. Okay. Simple, easy, home cooking, everybody. That's it. We've done it all. We've achieved everything that we wanted to today, my friends. Let's go ahead and grab my pie. Let's grab a fork, and we'll do a little recap session and taste it all. So, today was all about using up leftovers. I had all of my phyllo dough and all my mozzarella cheese. This is my phyllo pie. Mushrooms, onions, garlic, parsley, phyllo dough, mozzarella cheese, egg, bulgur wheat. All of it combined, all of it baked together. I'm excited to try this. This is a creation of my own invention without needing to reference anybody else. We get a very, very slight little pull from the cheese. Oh, that's good. Oh. Damn. Oh, that's yummy. That's eggplant. That's mushrooms. Garlic. Wow. That's so comforting and so tasty. And honestly, everybody, not all that difficult either. That was really easy to kind of throw together. Sure, you had a lot of different steps, but ultimately, it was a lot of really simple ingredients. Try that again. That is something that you can serve to a crowd of people, and they would be very impressed. Only adjustment, definitely needed some more bulgur wheat. Okay, to soak up some of that liquid from the filling. But, I'm impressed. Wow. Based off of spanakopita, and I made it my own. That was a dish of our own invention, of our own creation. I'm sure there's plenty of things that exist like it. That was lovely. Okay, next for my soup. White beans, bacon, carrots, onions, and celery, bacon fat, olive oil, all right, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, some oregano, some tomatoes, and some chicken bouillon. Have a little taste. You know, in the best way possible, this is aggressively Olive Garden quote, which is an ideal of food for me. It tastes like, you know, in the best possible way. It's very American Italian, you know. It's simple, it's delicious, it's got pasta. It's got beans, it's got vegetables, it's got a nice couple of little chunks of tomato from the fire roasted tomato can. Oh, that is lovely. This is a bowl of soup that you can have bowl after bowl of. Make it exceptionally Olive Garden quote. Probably a lot of Parmesan cheese and black pepper on top, I think would have been an amazing garnish for it. Have some more of my pie. The pie is very special, everybody. Does the nose ring hurt soup slurping? So, you know, it condenses. Steam condenses on the cold metal. So it's a little annoying sometimes, for sure. Okay, everybody, that's it. We got it all done today. We made the pasta e fagioli. We made the soup. We did it all. We did the pie. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being a part of the show. I appreciate your continuous presence. Everybody, every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, 5 p.m. EDT. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to see you all this Sunday, 5 p.m. once again, as always. Thank you for being here. Please support the Patreon if you haven't done so. ! Patreon. My goal is to be able to go full-time one day, and so any and all help there really is appreciated. Yeah, join the Discord if you haven't already done so. I'm going to see you all in 2 days' time. See you this Sunday. Take care and be well.